You know what I love?
Sports.
I love sports.
Sports. When
When it comes to
Texas A&M.
Where are you getting this information?
Let me tell you.
Welcome to TexAgs.
I need to talk a little sports with you, Ags. David Nuño here with TexAgs Radio. Billy Lucci here on TexAgs Radio. Olin, Buchanan. Holy smokes, he made that catch. And I was like, we're going to go win this freaking game.
The best way for us to win is to do it together.
Do you realize everybody knows who you are right now?
I think we're coming into this year with a new confidence.
Schools are like, we're freaking Texas A&M, man. Like,
that's about as pretty a throw-catch combo as there is.
I saw the safety roll, the slot fade. I knew where I needed to put the ball.
You had no other option but one hand at that point.
Yeah, man, 50-50 ball, I got to come down with it.
You know, if I'm betting on anybody, it's the Aggies.
I really find it weird. Like, it's a weird place to be. After 3 years of being here, and I feel most of the press, most of the social media reaction to the A&M head coach has been negative. In my experience, shows recently have all, and social media posts and analysts have applauded Texas A&M for the hiring of Mike Elko, and nothing but there were a couple posts about, you know, stuff from yesterday's press conference that caught my attention. I think Barstool, or the main guy from Barstool, but it is different to feel like people are like, this is a good hire, and I'm not used to that feeling. Jimbo was taking fire at all times. It's kind of nice to have people like you a little bit, OB.
I guess, you know.
He was different. I didn't have my guard up yesterday.
You know, I like Mike Elko.
Uh-huh.
Mike Elko's a likable guy. He's a guy that has gone to a difficult place to win and has won.
Mm-hmm.
And if you follow college football, you understand. We talked about it yesterday. David Cutcliffe had some success there.
Yep.
Steve Spurrier had some success there. And that's about it in the modern era. So you have to be a hell of a football coach to be successful at Duke. And he's a hell of a football coach.
But I will tell you, just seeing this version of him, I've seen a couple of press conferences at Duke, but just seeing this, it was better than I expected. By the way, we're TexAgs Radio. We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers here in the Rollo Insurance Studio Go Hour, presented by the Warehouse at CC Creations.
What did you expect?
I expected it to be good, but I was ready to go play ball for him yesterday. I was ready. Like, you know, I don't know. The changing of the guard was refreshing. There was talk about it. There was talk about, hey, now Elijah's the interim head coach. It felt good. Hey, we got this coaching search. It felt good. Elko named. It felt good. And now I hear him talk. I see his vision. He laid it all out. We got answers, and it feels good.
I agree with all that. I like that he spoke about the need to have a modern offense and that they're going to. I like that. I like that he said we got to stop talking about championships and do it.
Yeah.
You know, because there's been a lot of talk for a while. I like that that he said that, hey, we're going to reach out to the high school football coaches in this state immediately.
That felt like a direct, not shot at Jimbo, but a message that came from that ESPN article that I think Dave Wilson wrote about. Was it Dave who wrote that one? That there wasn't, I guess he wasn't as open to them. It felt like, hey, different regime, different policy.
Yeah. And then, I liked the way he said that they were aggressively going to try to make sure Elijah Robinson realized that this was the best place for him in the future, for his future, and they do everything they can. So I think every area that there's concern about, or that A&M has had some problems in recent years, he, without trying to be a wise guy, just being himself, addressed them all.
Yes, he did. He addressed it all. There was a calmness and also stoic, maybe. It just seemed like
I just thought it was no nonsense.
Yeah, there you go. That's a better way of saying it. And can I give some props to Texas A&M and Ross Bjork for the contract?
Well, they learned from their mistake.
Did they?
What you say is it's okay to make a mistake, but learn from your mistake. And they've learned from it. And by the way, it's a very lucrative deal. But I mean, who wouldn't take $7 million a year, right?
Doubles his salary, right?
Doubles his salary. But he can make the money of a national championship head coach if he wins a national championship. There's enough incentives in there to make over $10 million, maybe $11 million in a year if you win a championship. And what A&M did was A&M paid Jimbo national championship money because he won a championship
at Florida State
somewhere else.
Yeah.
So, hey, we're going to pay you national championship money if you win a national championship for us.
Nick, put that graphic back up. I want to kind of read through it for our radio audience so they can take a look at it. So it's 6 years, $7 million, $1 million extra dollars if they make the college football playoffs, $1.5 million advance to the college football playoff quarters and or win the SEC title, $2 million advance to the CFP semis, $2.5 million advance to the CFP championship game, $3.5 million if they win the national championship.
And then there's some other like individual award sprinkling where you make $50,000 here or $100,000, which we kind of laugh at when you're talking about all the other. But you know, if they want to cut me that check, I'll sure take it.
I got it here right. Appear in the SEC championship game, $100,000. SEC Coach of the Year, $50,000. $100,000 for National Coach of the Year. $50,000 for multi-year APR of $960 or above. Plus, a very competitive. I don't know if I knew how much A&M spent before on their assistant coaches and that their entire football staff. Apparently, this is down a little bit from what it was. It's still in the top. I think Ross said 8.
Said top 10, 8 to 10.
Yep,
yeah.
$11 million for that staff.
Yeah, and back to Mike's contract, it's 6 years, and if he is dismissed without cause, just because maybe it's not working out, A&M, I think, depending on if it's 3 years in, they're on the hook for 75% of that. If it's like 4 years, it's 80%.
Right.
So it's still a lot, but you're not just paying a ransom anymore, right? You're not hostage to the contract.
It just feels right.
I think it's the kind of contract. I think it's the kind of contract you're going to see more and more coaches get, where it's going to be very lucrative. It's going to be more than 99% of the people ever make in their life. But for it to be crazy, it's going to be heavy with incentives.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Matt Tackle sent me a very nice email. Yeah, I actually sent it to TexAgs yesterday. He's on the YouTube page today. Says, Nuño looking at least 10 years younger without the beard.
Yeah.
That's the way to do it, buddy.
Yeah.
I was surprised. I thought everybody who listened to us was 64. There was 18 and 19-year-olds and 20-year-olds yesterday at the celebration that came up. Nuño, I listen to you and OB all the time. Where's OB? I'm like, you're a kid. I love this. Tell me more.
The passion for Texas A&M sports and football in particular is not based on age. It's not bracketed by age.
Yep, 100%. It was cool to be there yesterday. It's just we've been down, right? We've been down for 3 years with a couple of moments of, maybe we're back. I never thought 2023 was going to be a great year, but I thought it could be really good. Really, really good, right? There was a reason I thought 8-4, 9-3 is what I thought. And I was hoping it'd be 9-3, obviously, because you got the quarterback. Feel like you figured out your offensive game plan. In retrospect, you kind of did, but you kind of didn't.
I don't think they ever figured it out. I think that by the time they started making some moves, Elijah, it was too late.
It was too late.
A&M was, look, the offense is what it was. And I don't believe, and maybe I'm dead wrong on this, I don't believe Bobby Petrino was able to put his his mark on this offense. I think he was calling plays in Jimbo's offense as if that was the problem. Play calling, it helped,
Right.
but the problem was just you're running a, it's like my car. 10 years ago, it ran great. 10 years later, it doesn't run so well.
That was great.
And you maybe need to upgrade.
So what you're saying is he doesn't have Bluetooth technology in his vehicle.
I'm just saying it starts to sputter a little bit. It's not as efficient. And Mike Elko says, "Hey, we're going to get that Bluetooth, and we're going to get everything else.
Yep.
To upgrade that offense."
Well, let's upgrade that offense by hearing from. Why did I sound like Count Dracula? By hearing Mike Elko yesterday talking about that offense, and I believe it was the first question of the presser. Here it is.
That's the $1 million question. And what I tell people we are going to find a way to play explosive offense. We're going to be part of the modern era. We're going to be able to switch up tempos. We're going to be able to utilize our personnel. I think in this day and age, you've got to be able to be very multiple and very adaptable in what you do on offense. I think people get caught up in these words like they mean everything. Like, oh, we got to be spread or we got to be pro style. And at the end of the day, we've got to be a group that knows how to attack defenses, get the ball in our playmakers' hands, and allow them to be successful.
Love everything he said.
Sounds like he wants to feed the studs.
Yeah, but I feel like there's some, like it's going to happen.
He actually will.
Yeah. And by the way, I think Bobby Petrino wanted to feed the studs too. And I got a question a moment ago from Philip. Is he still with the team? My understanding is all the assistant coaches are currently still with the team. Now, we'll see if Mike ends up hiring an offensive coordinator, how that changes the bowl preparations. But as of right now, everybody's here.
Well, they'll probably stay somewhat intact, at least through the bowl game, somewhat. Now, did I see on our message boards or somewhere else? Correct me if I'm wrong.
I will correct.
This sounds like something that you'll be excited about. That he's bringing his strength conditioning coach from Duke.
My homeboy. Yes.
Why is your homeboy?
Well, because he believes in lifting heavy and heavy a lot. Yeah, I did see that. I saw it was put. Is it Feely? His last name? I'm trying to remember the last name.
I think it is.
But I saw an interview with him that was posted, I guess, a couple days ago, or maybe it was posted yesterday, from right before the Notre Dame game. Everything he said just spoke my language, right?
Yeah.
Not because he's fit and all that, because all strength and conditioning coaches are fit. But that dude, he speaks to me. And I read somewhere that they didn't have one soft tissue issue last year at Duke. Huh.
Wow. Well.
And it's interesting. I've always known the importance of a strength and conditioning coach, but I never thought of it in the sense of discipline for the team. That guy's with your team more than the head coach, right?
Absolutely.
He sets the tone for the business that is going to be done that day. He sets the tone, the offseason for the season that's coming ahead. This guy, I highly recommend it. It is on the premium boards. I'm sure we can find that interview. But no nonsense, dude. I was really excited to hear him speak.
So there's already one move, right? There'll be more, but I'm going to trust the coach, especially this one.
Yeah,
because I don't think this one's ego's ever going to get in the way.
David Feely.
I don't think he's ever going to. The ego's ever going to get in the way of Elko.
He doesn't sound like
no
that
Elko
dude.
Ego.
It's interesting.
No ego Elko.
And I don't mean this with any disrespect at all. I've gotten, of my 2,000 text messages over the last 48 hours, I don't know if it's 2,000, but a lot of text messages, I think auto text or auto type, whatever you call it, has been putting Elmo in the text messages I've been receiving. I've gotten a lot of, what do you think of Elmo? It's not Elmo.
Say,
it's Elko.
I think Dave does a great job on color.
Oh, that Elmo. There you go. I was thinking Tickle Me Elmo. He was right.
He was a heck of a DB for the Rams.
Good dude.
Great dude.
Great dude.
Great dude.
We got to get those guys in studio soon.
Yeah.
Have a little powwow with them. By the way, those of you listening, you're going to really like our show today. We're trying to go guest heavy the next couple days here for some former players. We'll have our typical Jamie Morrison interview at 9:20, but some of the players we're going to hear from. Jamie McCoy at 9 o'clock. We will have Jordan Pugh at 10 o'clock. You're going to like this one. Leon O'Neal.
Oh, I love Leon O'Neal.
10:35.
I don't know why Leon O'Neal's not a coach somewhere, like a grad assistant or something, because that guy, I think he's a leader. He knows how to play the secondary, and he's just he's got a personality that people follow.
Yeah.
And a passion for it. So I don't know what he's doing today, but that guy needs to be in coaching.
Yeah, I like that kid. A kid. To us, he's a kid. He's
Everybody's
a
kid. You're a kid to me.
Really? I appreciate that, Obi. Thank you. That's
Thank
the nicest thing you've ever said to me.
Sure, kid.
By the way, we've got a date for Texas versus Texas A&M 2024, November 30th, the Saturday after Thanksgiving. That came out yesterday.
The Dirty 30. Looking forward to it.
The Dirty 30.
Get dirty on 30.
Are we allowed to talk about your business idea? That I hope Brandon Jones is listening right now, and Billy Lucci.
Absolutely.
And I want a show of hands or texts, tweets. Who would buy this? If we made this happen tomorrow, how many people would buy this tomorrow? Tell the people your idea.
Well,
this is brilliant.
It was Mike yesterday kept talking about how he wants to make a blue collar team. So I thought, what if you had the A&M shirts, the maroon shirts, but you put a blue collar on them?
So we
I don't even mean they don't have to be like T-shirts. You can put it doesn't have to be a
butterfly collar,
but just around the edge.
So I think we do a TexAgs shirt,
and it says something like A&M, maroon jerseys, blue collar.
I like it. TexAgs with a blue collar.
Yeah,
let's do it.
Why not?
Who would buy it? Send it up on the YouTube page or text us at 979-693-1150.
And if thousands bought it, how much would I get?
0.
Donut.
0, buddy.
0.
By the way, if you do call us, that is the Brian Foley hotline. Good people can have a bad day. Call Brian Foley, 936-596-0407, serving Houston, the Woodlands, Conroe, and the Brazos Valley. Let's go around the room and say hello to the people. We go behind the glass and say hi to a very busy Nick Savage. Nick, good morning, buddy.
Howdy, good morning. We're all busy at this point. But
at this juncture?
Yeah, exactly. But it's fun. It's a fun busy, like I mentioned yesterday. But just going back to the contract real quick, the most interesting part to me is that if Coach Elko hits any of those milestones, goals, whatever you want to call them, he gets a year added to the contract.
That's right.
So it's, you don't have to worry about an unreasonable extension. You're giving yourself an extension with your success.
Right. If you earn it, you get another year. Who has an issue with that?
By the way, if he wins the national championship, he's getting an extension.
Yeah, he's at this point. If he wins a national championship, he should get a lifetime deal.
He gets the 10-year contract.
He should get the lifetime deal.
Would you accept?
I'd give him a deal, an extension worth of how much time between one national championship to that one. Oh, it's been 80-something years. Okay, it's an 80-something year deal.
Would you accept 9 years of 5 wins for one national championship in 10?
When do I get the national championship?
At the very end.
Nah, see, that's
in the middle.
Okay, yeah.
You're in?
It's all about winning the national championship. If you win 10 games, 11 games, or 5, you're still not a champion.
It feels so much better to win 10 and 11.
I agree with that.
The whole offseason feels better.
But a national championship, that's what we're here for.
We are here for it. Let's go to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. Luke Evangelist. Luke, good morning, sir.
Good morning, David. I've got a quick note about David Feely. One of the Duke football players' parents tweeted, "Coming from a parent, David Feely is the reason for the turnaround at Duke. Players loved him, and his results were very visible. He made Duke into a football team." So you love to hear that about A&M's new strength and conditioning coach. Cade and I have been working hard on a stats report about Mike Elko. So some things that we found were Texas A&M's defense ranked inside the top 35 in yards per game every year under Mike Elko. And their first season outside the top 50 was the year that he left, and it was DJ Durkin's first year. Since becoming Notre Dame's defensive coordinator in 2017, Elko's teams have won 10, 9, and 9 games in his first season at his new school. And then in 48 games as A&M's defensive coordinator, the Aggies gave up 30 or more points just 9 times under Elko. And in the 24 games since Mike Elko left, A&M gave up 30 or more 7 times.
And one of those, it took them 7 overtimes.
Yeah, that's right. That's exactly right. Hey, our buddy Tackle says, I don't know if you're going to like this, OB.
Okay.
I wouldn't buy it, but it's a good idea, OB.
All right.
What if it was $12.99 or $12 exactly? Would you buy it then?
Not trying to change the color scheme, just
just a blue collar.
Because and quite frankly, I think A&M needs more of a blue collar mentality. I think we
got it yesterday.
I think too. Yeah, I do too. I think too many guys are playing for N-I-L instead of A-N-M.
I like it. I like the way you operate. By the way, Paul on the YouTube, our YouTube recently has been popping.
We appreciate you, YouTube.
Hey, hugs. All right, but not like,
Yeah, side hugs.
Or like a bro hug.
Or bro hugs.
Yeah.
Hey.
But if you're watching, subscribe, please. Do me the favor.
We appreciate it.
Do me the favor.
Do it for me. Do it for
Groby.
I need all the security I can get.
But I got to give Paul some props. He wrote, "Welcome to the Mike Elk Show."
The Elk Show.
The Elk Show.
Like the cruise show.
That's another shirt. Let's do another one. It's all about shirts. You get a shirt. You get a shirt. But you got to pay for it. Hey, Fargo's has kind of got a blue collar mentality over there, don't they?
Yeah, I think so.
5-star barbecue, but blue collar workers.
Well, I think barbecue is kind of a blue collar food.
Yeah.
That's speaking my language too. Being from White Oak, we're not snooty down there.
No,
actually, it'd be up there. So if I was if I was telling my folks from White Oak, they were coming down and said, "Where should we go eat?" I'd say, I'll tell you where you're going to feel comfortable and you're going to love it. I'd send them to Fargo's. I'd say, what day is it? Tuesday? I'd say, we get there early.
Oh, you better get now. Get in line.
Because, they have these rib tips, and they're amazing. They're meat dessert.
We should do a celebration of the Elk Show by going and having rib tips soon.
I wonder if they could come up with elk rib tips.
Dude, you're like Mark Cuban. You got ideas. What's the name of the show he's on? The one that the
Shark Tank.
The Shark Tank. You're on the Shark Tank, but you're winning it.
Well, you're also like Cuban. Well, you are Cuban.
But I am
But
Cuban.
anyway, I'd say get the rib tips. But if they're gone, I would say I personally love the chopped beef sandwich.
Okay.
I love it. But I've had the pork rib. The pork ribs. I like them. I've had the pork chop. I've had the sliced beef.
You've had it
the
all.
chicken. I've had it all.
You are Mr. Fargo.
I like Fargo's.
Yeah, you do.
I do.
1701 South Texas Avenue in Bryan. Without a doubt, I'm sorry, what?
It's the best barbecue in Texas, which makes it the best barbecue in the universe, the galaxy.
Did you happen to know that's their trademark?
Because it's true.
It's Fargo's. So I'm going to read you this. Pura Vida, or Pura Vida, says on the YouTube page. By the way, you guys haven't liked enough. There's like 400 of you watching. Like it. But Pura Vida asks, On 3 crew yesterday was discussing first-year expectations as 9 to 10 wins. Is me under that? Is Mike Elko under that much pressure in year one? A lot of it depends on who stays and
Do you
who
hear what
goes.
he said about pressure yesterday?
Remind me.
He basically said pressure's a good thing because you don't want to be at a place where there isn't pressure because then there's expectations. But with the expectations, there's you get the things, you get what you need to meet those expectations.
If you've got Bryce Anderson, Connor Wigman, a competent offensive line, you've got Walter Nolan, then I mean, there's got to be more players than that, obviously. But the expectations should be 9 or 10 wins every year.
Well, I go back to this. Look, let's see can we at least wait until we see what the roster is going to be?
Yes.
How many guys they're going to be able to retain, right? And I think they're going to retain a lot of them because it appears that Elijah said he wants to stay, and Elko wants to keep him. So, the E&E factor there, I think you'd expect him to stay, and then you'd have a whole bunch of guys staying. Here's the deal. A&M 7-5 this year. It's a hugely disappointing 7-5. 4 SEC games, they have the lead in the second half. Some positive changes could turn those. So, yes, I'm going to still say whoever the coach is, whatever the situation is, 10 wins has got to be the expectation.
Every year.
It's got to be the expectation.
Got to be the expectation.
And sometimes you're not going to meet those expectations. But that has to be the expectation.
Get me knocking on that door. 10 years to me is knocking on the door of the playoffs every year.
I mean, there are things that with a better offense, you beat Tennessee. With a better offense, you beat Alabama. I mean, they couldn't score from the 2-yard line.
Yep.
Maybe somebody said, hey, let's put Naboo in the backfield. Maybe they score from the 2-yard line against Alabama and still have a chance to pull that one out. With a special teams coach, maybe you beat Ole Miss.
By the way, we're in the Rollo Insurance Studio. They are the official insurance provider of TexAgs Radio. The difference is real. Independent insurance company built around educating you on what you're paying for, doing the shopping for you so that you can accomplish all of your insurance goals. The headquarters is on Highway 6 right here in College Station. Call 888-44-ROLLO or go to rolloinsurance.com. OB, it is now time for the Apex Performance of the Week presented by Apex Health. Feel like you're losing your edge? It could be low testosterone, increase your energy, sharpen your focus, and boost your performance with a custom treatment plan from Apex Health. Learn more at apexhealthclinic.com. The Apex Health Clinic is owned and operated by veterans serving the Brazos Valley. I'll let you pick the first one.
Solomon Washington.
Solo!
Yeah.
How about Solo's game, huh?
It came in that game against Iowa State. I know Luke will like this. I was talking basketball. Was it 18 points?
He's got it right there on the screen. Look at that.
Oh, there it is. 18 points. Hit 6 of 9, 3 of 4 from 3-point. It had two huge free throws late in the game. Rebound. He just played great. I mean, when there are injury issues, you count on somebody else to step up and do things that maybe you aren't expected to do. Solomon Washington did that. He sure gave a glimpse of what that he could be another threat for the Aggies moving forward.
Let's keep it on the field, all right? Because I have one off the field, but let's keep it on the field. The tight ends for Texas A&M.
Yeah, just Max had a drop, but boy, did he redeem himself, giving A&M a chance to win when he turned that short pass to a 51-yard touchdown where he's just shaking off LSU tacklers. And Jake Johnson it wasn't as long, but he caught the ball probably inside the 10, cut up field, got hit. Cut up field like some receivers haven't done at times this year, and just shook off a tackle and just carried a guy into the end zone. Yes, the tight ends played admirably against LSU.
And look,
and I liked it. Quite frankly, I thought Jaden Henderson did as a third string quarterback. He did a heck of a job.
He didn't play like a third string quarterback.
No, I mean got into the second half at times and kind of bogged down, and maybe that wasn't on him, and maybe LSU did some things. But I think overall, you look at what he's done since he's become the starting quarterback, and I think he's played much better than anyone could have hoped.
Look at that stat line. It's really good. 25 of 35, 294, 2 touchdowns a pick. He played really, really well. I'll say this, too.
Like that kid.
About back to the tight ends. We're not going to see Max Wright anymore. Just a great Aggie. Love his press conferences. Love the way he plays. He can block. He can catch. Did it all. I don't want to speculate about team guy. I don't want to speculate about guys going into the portal or whatever. I understand why people are speculating about Jake because his brother's going into the portal. I hope he's here. I imagine Theo, Jake, and Donovan next year potentially being just phenomenal.
And Jaden Platt.
Jaden Platt. There you go. Yeah, exactly. Let's do one more. How about we give one to Mike Elko? The right tone, the right message, the right blue-collar mentality.
Won the press conference without trying to win the press conference.
Without trying.
Yeah.
By the way, my dislike for Lane Kiffin is back.
Really?
It never left. I mean,
what did he do this time?
He just laughing at A&M.
Really?
You know, throwing varsity's horns off. Just again, he's
I
just.
mean, if that's all you got.
I mean, that guy wanted this. Trust me, I got a call from an insider. I think on Wednesday or Thursday. It was like, you know, are you sure he's not coming to A&M? He's not. Are you sure about that? Because we're hearing that's what he's trying to get. No, he's not coming to A&M. He doesn't fit. He doesn't fit the culture. And as good as he is, because I think he is a good coach.
He's a very good football coach.
You don't get to make fun of our traditions and expect to come to Texas A&M.
Well, that's true. That's true.
You don't have to like it. Look, there's the tortillas. Okay, that's what they do at Texas Tech. Whatever, throwing the tortillas. Like, It's college. It's supposed to be different. You're supposed to be things you do, but people love the point, and like those of you like to just get a like and a retweet, y'all can go yourself.
Yeah, see, I don't care that. I like it. I think it's fun. I think it being part of something that's bigger than you is attractive.
You got no substance when all you can do is hate.
Well,
you got no substance. Every once in a while, like, be a man.
Well, you know, I know he's had back-to-back 10-win seasons.
No,
he only won 7
2 out of
last
3.
year. 2 out of 3.
2 out of 3. He's a really good offensive coach.
What he does though, he wins the games that most people think he's supposed to win, and that's all.
The LSU game was a good win for them.
Yeah, it was.
That was a good win.
But you know what? I always thought. I remember at the beginning of the year, we thought I think LSU's going to be kind of like they were last year,
and that's good.
Which was good, but not great. Not going to be a championship team, even though last year they got to the championship game and then got destroyed.
Yeah.
So I think in that kind of game, he was able to take advantage of a poor LSU defense. He was.
Oh, let's hit a break here. We'll come back with Shireen Williams.
Oh.
I like Shireen. Where's your pain? Is it in your knees? Is it in your hips? Is it in your back? Don't let it sideline you any longer. You've got to make sure you reach out to the good people at QC Kinetics to make you feel better, because if they're telling you that surgery is your only option, they're lying to you. If they're telling you steroids, you don't have to do that. You can do QC Kinetics and feel better, because they are the future and they are the now of pain relief. They're the nation's leader in regenerative medicine, restoring and repairing that damaged joint tissue, and they do it the natural way. They use the science of properties from your own body to bring lasting relief with no drugs, no downtime, and they're trusted by patients all over the United States, and they're right here in the Brazos Valley right now. Over 150 clinics nationwide with advanced protocols that can get you moving once again. And by the way, it's a great use of your FSA or FSA funds out there. These new advanced regenerative treatments are getting amazing reviews for people with arthritic pain and pain from injury out there. So, again, no drugs, no downtime, no surgery. Call QC Kinetics for a free consultation. Let their medical professionals give you a better path towards pain relief, and it's a great way to get started. 979-452-6000, QC Kinetics. 979-452-6000. That is 979-452-6000. Welcome back in TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers Rollo Insurance Studio. I see a bunch of text messages that we have to get to. Sorry, guys. We will certainly get to those when we can. Let's go to the Brian Foley Law Hotline. We're joined by Shireen Williams, Pro Football Talk, Aggie Great, Hall of Famer, our good friend Shireen. Good morning.
Good morning to you guys. How are we doing today?
You know what? We're doing good.
Yeah, everybody's doing pretty well today.
I'm speaking for the group. I feel like we've got the right guy, Shireen.
Oh, 100%. We took a long, circuitous route to get there, but it is the absolute right hire. We could have done it the day after firing Jimbo. It would have been very, very simple. He'd have had a week up on keeping some players and recruiting and all those sorts of things. But what's done is done. Ended up with the right guy, and I'm fired up. I watched the press conference, and to see his family up there knowing every word that Aggie wore him, to hear him start with howdy, like they just get it. They're like one of us. I know they didn't go to A&M, but they're one of us. They've been there long enough. They know what it's about. He knows what he's getting into. Everything he said. I wanted to run through a wall after listening to that press conference. I'm telling you, it was outstanding. And the best thing that he said is, we're not going to talk about it again. We're going to be about it. And I just love that. Be about it. Don't talk about it.
Agree. I thought that was the one thing, the most poignant thing he said. So stop talking. There's been too much talk.
Yeah, don't give out trophies that doesn't have a year on the national champion. Don't do any of those things. Just go do it, show it, prove it. Forget what people say. Forget what anybody else is talking about outside of that locker room. Just go do it. Get ready. And I love everything that I've heard so far from Mike Elko. And I knew it would. Like, he was my number one choice from the start. Like, he was the one guy who would fire me up. And the one guy, I think, that would fire up former players and current players and alums, and we can all get on board with. He was the choice, I think, from the beginning, and I'm just so happy that we ended up with him, and exactly what I wanted in this coaching hire, and I think good things are going to happen in the next few years.
Shireen, I feel like it changes the trajectory of the program, right? Like the feeling 100%. he's got to do it. But as we sit here today in November, I'm like, I think next year can't come quick enough.
Yeah, well, you think about the feelings that we've had, especially over the last few weeks, and the feeling we have today, it's completely different, and it just seems we're going in a different direction. And one thing that was so telling to me, and I've heard it from people within the high school coaching ranks, was he called out the Texas High School Coaches Association and said, "You're so important to us." High school coaches heard that. They had a problem with Jimbo Fisher. They had a problem with Texas A&M. There was nothing in the Texas high school because they did not like Texas A&M. They did, particularly Jimbo Fisher. Probably had nothing to do with A&M other than Jimbo being the head coach of A&M. And he spent a couple minutes talking about the Texas High School Coaches Association. And I think that's important, and I think that's big, and I think it shows you where the program was, and I think it tells you where the program is going. And that is a huge, huge thing. And it was very pointed to me that and I got a couple texts from high school coaches saying that was huge. And the hiring of Mike Elko was huge for Texas A&M in the eyes of the high school coaches in this state.
Yeah, I believe Mike's even going to show up at the coaching convention.
Yeah.
Probably won't send an assistant.
Exactly. Exactly.
I mean, Nick Saban went, but Jimbo Fisher didn't.
Shireen, speaking of assistants, getting this right too, the right group of guys, and I don't know who he's going to keep from the current staff and who he's going to bring from Duke, but getting the right group here is going to go a long way, I think, to hopefully keeping some of these players.
Yeah, and there's two huge hires you have to make, and that's obviously offensive coordinator and a special teams coordinator, which we haven't had, as we all know, as we've all seen with the product on the field. So those, to me, in the offensive line are the three biggest hires he has to make going forward. And so, I saw John McClain. I was talking to John McClain of the Houston Chronicle yesterday, and he said, boy, I hope that the Aggies don't come get Gerard Johnson because he's doing such a great job with the Texans. I think he'll be the next offensive coordinator here, probably in the next year or two, when their offensive coordinator leaves, probably for head coaching jobs. He's doing such a great job with C.J. Stroud. So I think that's one place that hopefully we look a little bit, because I think he would be obviously a natural fit being an Aggie. I think he would do a great job with the development of the quarterbacks. And whoever he gets, it just needs to be a really good hire. He needs to hit on that hire, and then, again, the offensive line coach and the special teams coordinator. And, I mean, I've been down on these special teams since day one. It was funny that the Mississippi State game, when the ball didn't go with the very first kickoff, I'm in the stands, and as soon as I see the ball's not going in the end zone, I'm like, oh, no, oh, no, oh, no, oh, no. And it just continued, oh, no, all the way down the field. People around me were sort of laughing because I called it when the kickoff didn't go in the end zone, because this coverage team was so bad. So, you've got to get a special teams coordinator in here. And there are a lot of them out there. Joe DeCamillis, I talked to him this year. He's doing free work for the University of Texas. Senior analyst, and he's on the sideline during games. Used to be with the Cowboys, was with the Rams, got fired from the Rams, still getting paid by the Rams. He's getting no money at the University of Texas to help with their special teams. They have 2 special teams guys. A&M has 0. We got to get that fixed.
Here.
Here. Shireen, let's get into some Aggies in the NFL.
Yeah, it was not a real great week, and for the first week in a really long time, Myles Garrett is not on this list. Played okay, but 2 tackles for Myles. Josh Reynolds kind of gets a honorable mention here, 2 catches, 15 yards, and a touchdown. We're going to give the offensive linemen some love. I thought about Braden Mann, but we've had him on our list one time. He had another really good day with the Eagles. Actually had 5 punts for the Eagles. They were so bad in the first half. But Jake Matthews, we're going to give him some love. Left tackle for the Falcons. The Falcons are now in first place in their division. He's played 752 snaps this season, played pretty darn well. 5 penalties, 4 sacks allowed, but has done a really good job there. So we're going to throw a bone to the offensive lineman. Christian Kirk, number 2, 4 catches, 89 yards in that victory over the Texans. First place now for them in the AFC South by 2 games, and he's a big part of the reason why. And number 1, he's been on our list almost every week, at least with this streak of sacks, and that's Justin Matabuke. Half a sack, 3 quarterback hits, a tackle. He has 10 sacks this year. That's the first time the Ravens, as good as they've been on defense, have had a player with double-digit sacks since Terrell Suggs had 11 in 2017. He's now in concussion protocol. Ravens don't play this week. That's good for him. He should be back in 2 weeks, but he won't be in our list of Aggies in the NFL next week, obviously, since the Ravens don't play. So hopefully some of these other guys step it up and have some big weeks.
There she is, Shireen Williams, Pro Football Talk. Shireen, thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Appreciate you. Shireen Williams bringing it. I saw you like.
I was just wondering. I was trying to remind myself if Matabike and Miles ever played at the same time here.
Luke, Googles.
And if they did, obviously, Miles was only here 3 years, so they may not have had enough time. And Matabike might have redshirted, I don't know. But so maybe they never actually played.
I think we looked this up earlier. I think him and Christian Kirk and Myles Garrett were all on the same team for 1 year.
And they probably finished 8-4.
Well, one of them redshirted. I forget the specifics, but we've looked this up before.
Yeah.
Just realized you're wearing a Masters jacket.
Yeah.
Well, that's very nice, buddy.
Thank you.
You've been to the Masters?
No, my dad has.
All right, Mr. Evangelist. How about career opportunities at the Association of Former Students? If you're looking to relocate to the Brazos Valley, call the Association of Former Students or look them up on their website, because they got some great opportunities on their website. Positions open in communications, fundraising, former student programs, campus programs, and much, much more. They are the nation's premier alumni association and the oldest organization serving A&M in support of that Aggie network. They play a part in every single Aggie story from Howdy to here. Don't miss opportunities to help out the association with Howdy Socials and Aggie Ring Day to class reunions, Aggie Muster, and everything in between. Join a team that exemplifies Aggie core values of excellence, integrity, leadership, loyalty, respect, and selfless service, all in support of that worldwide Aggie network. So if you're interested in joining an awesome elite team or sharing with somebody who would be a great fit, please visit tx.ag/associationjobs to apply and get more information on each position. You want to sing, don't you?
I might have told you this. When I was a little boy, 5 years old.
Yeah.
On Sundays, my dad would take us to get breakfast at this place near our house in Dallas, and they had one of those old time jukebox that's mounted on the wall at your table, and he played this song every Sunday.
That's how nice is that?
Yeah.
Down on the corner. By the way, it's the Gar presented by the Warehouse at CC Creations. We're going to the corner of the studio, and that's where we find the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. Luke Evangelist. Let's play the game of guess the line.
Yeah, let's do it. So every single Power 6, if you want to count the American Conference Championship, is a ranked versus ranked matchup according to the AP poll. So let's start it off with number 19, Oklahoma State versus number 7, Texas.
Oklahoma State, Texas. I'm going to say Texas by 13.5.
I'm going to say Texas by 9.
It's Texas by 14.5.
Woo! Good call.
What a start.
Great work, David. This next one might trip y'all up. Number 5,
Apologize
Oregon.
for the yell, by the way. That was way too loud of a reaction at 8:50.
That was. Number 5, Oregon against number 3, Washington.
Ooh.
Oregon by 6.
I'm going to go Washington by 1.5.
It's Oregon by 9.5.
Whoa.
And the last time these teams played, they combined for 69 points. So I would like y'all to guess the over-under.
65.
72.
66.5.
You are good, my
work,
friend.
OB. Next up, number 25, SMU versus number 17, Tulane.
I don't care.
Tulane by 7.
Tulane by 9.5.
Tulane by 5.5.
Okay.
That
OB's
is another one for
dominating
OB.
me. Dominating.
Well, I mean, he's on Gambling Geezers. He should
this
know
is true.
these.
I've never gambled in my life.
That's probably a good
Really?
thing.
Yeah.
Number
I mean,
one.
I've done like
I
a
wish
Super
I
Bowl
could say
thing.
that.
I mean, I played a roulette or something like that, but I've never
that
gambled
would be
on sports.
gambling.
Yeah, but I've never been like twice or something, right?
Okay.
Like when I go to Vegas, I just walk around. Oh, hey, how are you?
I bet you I could make you gamble.
Just take the opposite of what OB does.
Did that Dumb and Dumber, remember that? I bet you I can make you gamble. No, I can't. I bet you I can. I'll give you 10 to 1 odds. Okay.
Okay. And this is where Billy's going to send me a text in a minute. I haven't watched Dumb and Dumber.
Okay.
I tried for like 20. It's not
spectacular.
Yeah, that's what people say.
All right, I'm sorry.
Continue
Luke.
through.
If you want a rerun of Dumb and Dumber, just tune into Gambling Geezers every
look
week.
at that.
Which one are you?
I'm dumber, for sure.
Est.
Number 1, Georgia against number 8, Alabama.
Georgia by 8.
Yeah, I got to do something different because he said 8. I'm going to say Georgia by 9.5.
It's Georgia by 6. I was pretty surprised to see that.
Okay.
Next up, number 15, Louisville against number 4, Florida State.
Florida State by 2.
Louisville by 1.5.
OB, you are on fire.
God
it's
bless.
Florida State by 2.5.
I got too excited for my first one, and I've failed ever since.
And then finally, we have probably the best game of the week. Let's be really honest here. If you're looking for high-flying offense on both sides, number 2, Michigan against number 18, Iowa.
Michigan by 15.
Yeah, Michigan by 16.5.
It's Michigan by 23.
I didn't really win.
And
but
can
I
you
kinda
guess the over-under?
43.
51.
35.5.
Because Iowa's not going to score. So Michigan, and they have a good defense. So Michigan is probably going to win, by a wide margin, but not by necessarily a huge total. I can see Michigan winning 31-3.
Our friend Max Crawford from KBTX watching on the YouTube page. Have you liked? Have you commented? Have you subscribed? You've commented because I just saw you. Have you subscribed? Have you commented? Everybody else like. OB, thank you very much for the fun hour.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate you. All right, so here's the agenda for the 9 o'clock hour. Jamie McCoy, Jamie Morrison, KBTX Roundtable, 10 o'clock, Jordan Pugh, Leon O'Neill. That and more is TexAgs Radio. Good song right here. TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. Told you we're going to go guest heavy today and get reaction from former players and get some thoughts as the new era of Aggie football is here. Let's go to the Brian Foley Law Hotline and talk to Jamie McCoy, who joins us during the football season on Tuesday mornings. Jamie, good morning, buddy. Is Jamie frozen? I think we're going to have to try to come back to Jamie. Nick will let me know when we get Jamie back on there. We may need to call him here in a moment. I'll read some text messages. In the meantime, Luke from Lexington was just curious if there's any smoke or truth about Anthony Hill Jr. getting in the portal in Texas, maybe coming to A&M, since we know we got Elko. Just a rumor around Austin. No, I don't think that's. I don't think that's true. I think somebody tweeted it to hope to push it into existence, but I have not seen anything about that. Mohan in I think it's Mohan or Mohan in CS. Great hire. Looking forward to positive results next year and following years. Honestly, next year's schedule appears to be easier with no games against Alabama or Ole Miss or OU. Tough games up against Notre Dame and Florida. I think Elko will bring great tidings to Aggie football. Great show, by the way, Mohan. Hey, thank you, buddy. Appreciate that. Very kind of you. Try to do another one as we try to get Jamie McCoy back on the program. Sent above text. Let's see. It says, Jim and Temple, I like the idea of maroon shorts with a blue-collar shirt, I think he meant to say. There's a toughness meaning to blue-collar. Great, though. Let's put into action like that Mike Elko's refreshing relations to Texas and their high school coaches. E-Rob being kept, very important here. Ties to Philly, New Jersey, the New England area. So I agree. All those are true in that respect. So a lot of great things are happening around the program right now. It just feels right. Everybody is feeling very good. And look, anytime that there's a coaching change, this is what happens. You know, like people like to say, that's your third choice. That's your... Buddy, I know Texas, Sark wasn't their first choice or their second choice, right? I know that. And by the way, it's working out for Sark this year. Based on what has happened this year, you know, I made the comment that it's working for Brian Kelly yesterday, and some people said, are you sure it's working? It's working enough, right? Like, if the way you judge working is only a national championship, then no. Then there's only like 5 coaches that have worked over the last few years, over the last decade, right? But if we're talking about like moving the program in the right direction, I think this is the right hire. So we go back to the Brian Foley Law Hotline. We're going to try to get Jamie McCoy on this way. Jamie, good morning, buddy.
Good morning, David. Apologies for the internet connection. I'm gonna talk with the higher ups and get this resolved by next season.
All good, man. No worries, man. I'm sure it's because the special teams coordinator had something to do with that. I'm kidding. Hey, let's talk about your feelings for Mike Elko, man, and just he's the hire. You saw all the madness over the weekend. What do you think?
Man, I tell you what, with all the madness, I told you a couple weeks ago, this was my dream hire. So I'm over the moon. I know a lot of other Aggies are over the moon. I'm excited for what we're going to look like defensively. I think under Elko, we had a pretty great defense. And the thing I love most is he's not afraid to mix it up and bring exotic blitzes, regular blitzes, dropping. He just knows a lot of the defense schemes. So I'm happy for us on that side of the ball. I'm happy that I'm just happy all around. I'm excited to see which way we're going to go offensively, which direction. I'd like to know who that coordinator is going to be and what offensive line coach we may end up with. But outside of that, I'm over the moon right now, ready for next year's season.
Let's go back to his first stint here. Did anything strike you about his approach, the way this defense is played, that really made you say, like, because when you said this was the guy you wanted, there must have been something while his time at A&M was like, I'm going to keep my eye on this dude.
Yeah. The thing I love most about Elko from the time that he was there with us is you'll have the opposing team's quarterback, and I know this from my years of playing quarterback, but you'll come into a look that looks like it may be cover 2, and you know or you think you know where you're going to go with the ball, where at the change of the snap, the look completely changes. And as you go to pull back like you're getting ready to throw that ball, everything's changed. Guys are in different places, and he just brings a lot of confusion. And the thing I think that I'm most excited about and most Aggies should be excited about is under his tenure, You might have got us a little bit in that first half, but he always made second half adjustments. It always seemed like, okay, wait till we get to the second half. We're going to have y'all's number. And those are the times where we might have a lead with Jimbo, and we were able to just ice that lead from being able to milk the clock and then shutting people down on defense. So that's the thing I think I'm most excited about, is knowing that we're going to make second half adjustments and be a better team in that second half and be able to finish, which I think was our biggest problem here in the last previous years, is just not finishing and doing what you should be doing with the talent that we had.
Jamie, interestingly, coaches at A&M are beloved when they're here. But I feel, and tell me if I'm wrong here, the last beloved coach we had at Texas A&M that can stand the test of time is R.C. Slocum and Jackie as well, right? But I don't think people beloved Fran. I don't think people beloved Sherm, Sumlin, and Jimbo. I feel like am I right in the way I'm assuming or assessing the situation?
I think you're right. I never got to. I met R.C. Slocum, but I never got to be around him in that fashion, so I didn't get to see it. Well, I just know from how it's been since he's been gone as the head coach, he's still beloved around the city and has a ton of respect among all of his colleagues and players and fans alike. So I know that he is in that sense. I know Fran was not. I don't think Summer was. I know from a personal aspect with Sherm, he was beloved just because he was a total flip of transitioning in terms of being fair to the players. The coach before that would let guys get away with certain things, where Sherman came in and he was just fair, which is all that anybody can ask for, just a fair shake at everything. So I think among the players, I feel like I know Sherman was beloved. But for the other guys, I didn't have as much experience with them all. But yes, with the fan base, it does absolutely seem that way. That the sad part is we're begging to love somebody. Yep. We want somebody to get us over the hump and do this. Like, if you can just do certain things, win certain games, you will get a statue in College Station. Just do what we need you to do, and that's all. All we want is to win and not be the laughing stock anymore. So I think big things are coming for us, and I'm excited to see the new regime.
Jamie, a thing that caught my attention this morning, and it kind of goes back to the laughing stock thing. Billy, I guess, reposted Mike Leslie from WFAA, and let me see if I can find it so I can read you. I didn't hear what he said, but I saw Billy talking about it. Mike Leslie's post says, Texas A&M believes it should be among the elite in college football based on what? And apparently there's like a minute and a half little ramble. I have not heard it. But what is wrong with wanting? What is wrong with putting your program on the right path? What is wrong for ejecting if it's not working? Like, people have a problem with, you should stay in this lane. Screw a lane. I'm trying to go through whatever lane I want to go through.
Man, I tell you what it is, and I really believe this with all my heart. All the people that hate us, they hate us because we have our own thing. Whether people think it's corny, whether people think we're the laughing stock, whatever it is, they hate that we love A&M, we love our school, and we'll do anything for it. We don't care if we look silly. We don't care if we're dancing at a press conference. We love our school and we have passion. I think other people see that and they're like, man, they haven't won anything. Why do they love their school so much? Why? I think it's more jealousy than anything. And I say that it's not like they're jealous because we haven't won. We haven't done what we needed to do. But they are upset that we still believe, there's still optimism, and that we know where we should be, and we know where we can be, and we know where we want to go. They hate that we even believe that we have a chance to get there, which seeing is believing, which I love. And that's what Elko said when he first got on there. It's time to stop talking and be about it, which that's exactly what every Aggie wants to hear. But I think more than anything, it's, why do they like their school so much? And they can't take it. We love our school. Win, lose, or draw, we love our school, and they got to get used to it. When we start winning, it's gonna be a sad day for a lot of people across this nation.
I got to give Max Crawford his second bit of props on the show today from KBTX. He actually responds to Mike Leslie. He says, why would the goal be anything other than a national championship? The Texas Rangers, a team that you cover, said the same thing less than a year ago, and everyone laughed. Congrats on the engagement, though. Pile on while you can. Well said, Max.
What a bird. Dang.
Right?
I love that. That's a great response. Yeah, because what are we doing this for if you're not trying to go win the national championship or win the Super Bowl or win the World Series? Everybody has a goal, and you don't go into it saying, well, let's just see if we can win 3 this year. No, the goal is always hoisting the trophy at the end of the year. So if you want to hate on us for having aspirations, by all means, go for it.
All right, let's get back to the path here. Elko, what do you want to see him do short order and then long term? Like, what are some, like, and obviously we know the wins, like the product on the field, but like, what are some things that you want to see benchmarks perhaps that he gets accomplished here in short order?
First things first, I like for him to get the staff solidified. I like to know what direction we're going to go or have some type of idea what we're going to be offensively. I like to see him get in there and keep as many guys as we can. I know some guys have already mentioned that they're going to go to the portal. I like to see him, like I said, keep as many as possible. Keep a strong front on the recruits that we already had committed and make sure that we keep them on board. And then, moving forward, there's not much I can say that I like to see. My thing is going to be all fall of 24. I'm ready to see the product that we put on the field. I know it's going to be different than what we've had. Not that, I feel like we were doing things wrong, but I just know that there's going to be a different look and a different feel. So yeah, I think more than anything, my deal is keeping guys on board. And same with that, I think some of these guys, especially defensively that we have that haven't got to experience his defensive mind, I think they would behoove themselves by considering staying another year and seeing if we can't kind of springboard A&M into what we're going to hope to be down the line, 25, 26, years from now. So I'm hoping that he can get in here quick and just bring some resolve and some get rid of the anxiety that most of us may be feeling as far as, are we going to keep this guy? Is this guy still safe? There's a lot of unknown. I think the quicker that we get in there and get him going, I think a lot of that stuff gets ironed out.
Well, Jamie, expectations-wise, I know we have to wait to see who the coaches are and who stays, who leaves, and who they add, right? I get all that. But all that being said, expectation-wise, this should and can be a program that every year wins 9-10 games, right?
Absolutely. If you go, granted, we got. I saw my buddy sent the deal with the big notable games for 2024, and I know we got Notre Dame. Outside of us having big games like that in the non-conference, you should win your non-conference schedule. You should win your games at home. Granted, we're playing against other top-level competition. I don't expect us to be undefeated at home every year, but you'd like to win 75% of those. I'm okay with just one home loss each season, if any. But our big thing is going to be going and winning on the road. If you can go steal 2 from somewhere, granted, some of these teams win all their games on the road or finish the season undefeated. But us as Aggies, we're needing 2, 3 of these games on the road, tough games that when they're close and you just need one player, you just need one more drive to get the job done, that's what we're needing. We're needing to just finish strong, and I think he's the great guy for that. I think everything that he's about and everything he stands for, I think it's going to imprint on our team. We're going to be a microcosm of his personality. So I'm excited for that. I really am.
Jamie, let's talk a little bit about a topic we've talked about many, many times, but now we got an official date. Texas versus Texas A&M, Kyle Field, November 30th, 2024. We've got the date. It's right after Thanksgiving. Just your thoughts, not necessarily on renewing the rivalry. We've done that, but we've got the date, and we've got the new head coach. Texas is going to be coming in with, a pretty darn good season, regardless of what happens the rest of the way. Just your thoughts.
I could not be more excited. My main thought was, man, where are they going to place this game? Do they really believe LSU is our new big rival? Are they going to keep LSU at the back of the schedule? And to see LSU was bumped to mid-October, and then we got Texas back on Thanksgiving weekend, that's all we can ask for. I think it's just nostalgic for most of us Ags who grew up eating Thanksgiving meal, and just around that time, knowing that we're going to finish our season off with our most hated rival and want to stomp a hole in them. This year, with it being on Saturday, I personally enjoy it when I enjoy it most when that game is played on Thanksgiving. I think there's something special about that. I think it's nice to it's just a good banter for, especially here in Texas. Some families love this side, some families love this other side. I think it's best when it's played on Thanksgiving Day, but the fact that it's just back on the schedule and ending the season on rivalry week, I'm excited for that, and I can't wait to go right a lot of our wrongs. Back when we were playing that game, we were really thought of as little brother, but I think now the tide has changed. Granted, they are having a great season this year. I think they played Rudy Poo competition. The Big 12 championship is 14-point spread already, which says enough about them. So I love that they're coming to the SEC. They got to go through a gauntlet of opponents, and then they see us at the end of the year. So I can't wait for the thing to be back. I know everybody else can't wait. I know they can't wait. It's just we got a date now, like you said, so we can all just build up until that day and see who the better man is.
Hey, I do want to ask you about the tight ends that played this past weekend. I know A&M lost the game to LSU, and it was a valiant effort, but 3 quarters isn't enough. You got to finish it. How about the way Max and Jake played?
Man, I think they both played amazing. It was great. I think this might have been the first time we got both of them in the end zone in the game. I can't say enough good things about Max and what he was able to do this year for us. His touchdown run right there at the end was awesome. I hated the drop to start the game just because I feel like that killed a little momentum, and just with the game plan that we came out there with, I feel like we had everything for the taking. And granted, that wasn't the end-all, be-all, but I just hate that he had that bad moment because other than that, I don't think he had a drop all year. And then Jake was just able to come in and do his thing like he normally does. When Max made the first drop, I thought, man, is Jake not playing this game either? But then to see him come out and put an impact on the game was great as well. Going into next year, hopefully you get Jake to stay. I know Donovan Green should be back. Platt should be coming on, and not to mention any new recruits that we may get. So I think the tight end position is in good hands right now. I think there's a lot to build on, and I don't think we've tapped into that potential as much as we can or as much as we wanted to. But I think we're in good hands, and I think we're in a good place, and it should be upward moving forward.
All right, I'm going to close with this, hope. I think we got hope back again, right? And now it's been missing for a while. There was moments of hope, but I feel like this is sustainable hope to carry us through the offseason. Just your thoughts on hope and where this program's headed.
I agree with you. Hope is a great word. I think Aggies have a lot of good times and a lot of good memories to be had ahead of us. I think with a lot of these teams, games that we're supposed to win, I think we're going to win them easily. And games that are tough, I think we're going to make our mark and we're going to be a whole new identity as a team. And that's really kind of what we've been missing is an actual identity. I know our defense has played tough. Offense has had spurts of good plays. Are we running the ball? Are we passing the ball well? I think what we're going to have is he said it in his press conference, a new blue-collar identity with the Aggies, which we're fighting Texas Aggies. I can't love it more as far as blue-collar. It's a lot of what I came from in Pittsburgh with the Steelers, that mentality of smash-mouth football and not taking anything on defense and then just giving it to you on offense. I think hopeful is a great word for Aggies. I think we're in good hands. And I think we're no longer going to be a laughing stock. I keep telling everybody, wait till we start winning. I think everything changes, and I think when we look back on this, Elko, however we got to the situation, I think Elko is going to be one of our better hires, and could possibly get him a statue outside of that building. Hopefully he gets us an SEC championship as well as a national championship with us moving to the 12-team playoff. So hopeful is a great word. I think Aggies have a lot to be happy about here in the near future.
That is Jamie McCoy on the Brian Foley Law Hotline. Jamie, thanks, sir. Appreciate you very much. We'll talk to you down the line, all right?
No problem at all. All right, sounds good, David. Appreciate you guys.
Thank you, Jamie. We'll definitely get to him around the bowl game. Let's hit a break here. We'll come back with Jamie Morrison, who's in studio. NCAA tournament starting for them here this week on Thursday, by the way. We will chit-chat with them, with him here in a moment. I do want to talk about my buddy Chance McClain. I'm going to read a tweet from him, and you may take it as an insult. It's not an insult. He's the most real guy I know. All right, creative, real. Here's his tweet from today. I have a confession. When I was waiting tables in the 90s, if I waited on you and you ordered a decaf, you did not receive a decaf. I'm sorry. That's Chance McClain. He's just honest, guys. Like, I've always wondered that. Like, are they really giving us decaf? Because I'm a decaffer. You know, I'm a calf guy in the morning. But then if I need that coffee experience, this has nothing to do with Heritage Films. It's just a sidebar. I would order a decaf, you know, keep me warm at night, whatever. And I always wonder, are they really giving me caffeinated? See? So now we know. We know how it works in the industry. And that's just Chance McClain for you. He's a great follow on social media. He just tells you what he thinks. He's creative. He's funny. He does these documentary films. You want them. Trust me, you want these done for your family. 1,000%. Every person that has listened to this show that has reached out to Chance and done, they're like, dude, it was the best idea. And I'm not just saying that as a spot. That's a fact. Call him. You will see. By the way, here's his number. 713-893-8341. Call him right now. Just talk to him. Just literally ask him. Say, hey, David talked about the decaf thing. Is that true? And then chit-chat if you want a little bit about Heritage Films. They do the documentary films. They also do the Year Flicks. The Year Flicks is cool. It's a benchmark video. Aggie parents are like jumping all over this because they want to capture their kids' experience. These 20-minute videos captured in the best time, right? Like, it's a moment in time. It's a Facebook memory that you get to keep with you for the next 50, 100 years, right? 20 minutes Q&A with your kid. Benchmark, find out what they're into. Freshman year, sophomore year, you do another one. Junior year, you do another. See, trust me, all these are fantastic. The website for it all, yourheritagefilm.com. Yourheritagefilm.com. 713-893-8341. 713-893-8341. All right, it's TexAgs Radio. We are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. All right, so A&M volleyball, 16-12 on the year, 8-10 conference play, 16 wins, and head coach Jamie Morrison's debut are the most by a coach in the last 4 seasons. They head to Austin to face the number 2 seeded Texas Longhorns in the opening round Thursday, November 30th of the NCAA tournament. Here he is, Jamie Morrison. Hello, sir.
Happy to be here.
Good to see you, man.
Good to see you, too.
We both got some good, I got the hoodie, you got the sweater on.
We had a memo that went out this morning.
Yeah, I saw. I read it.
Is it fly free this morning?
It is fly free.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Your thoughts on, getting to be close to home against a rival and all the goodness that comes with that?
Yeah. A team that I know, and just go back to this. We're excited to go represent this university in the tournament. The message I had for our team yesterday is we should be grateful for the fact that we get to practice because we're not one of 270 teams whose season ended on Sunday. So just super, super excited that we get this next step for our program to get this thing back into the tournament where it belongs, where it has been for a really long time. And then, you get Texas. And I don't think you could ask for a better first-round matchup that's going to have some fireworks and some pop to it. So good volleyball team. I respect them a ton. Obviously, I was there for a little bit. So I'm looking forward to a little bit of a homecoming to go say hello to those people, but not going to take any prisoners when it comes to playing volleyball.
There was never doubt in my mind, not only that you were going to be in the tournament, but that you were going to take on Texas because that's what they do. So last year in basketball, A&M was supposed to play Texas had they beat Penn State.
Yep.
A&M soccer played Texas a year ago. They find every opportunity to do it. But I get it. Geographically, it makes sense.
There's some geography involved. I don't know exactly why the first round that's happening. I think they're thinking the same thing, but I'm not complaining about that. Again, we're thankful to be in. But again, I'm excited for it. I think it'll be a really exciting volleyball match to watch on TV, played with some emotion.
How good are the Longhorns?
They're good. I mean, they've got the 2 seed for a reason. They have a lot of talent that I've coached with the U19 group. But beatable. I think every team in the country is. And I think I've talked about the SEC being a gauntlet. There's so much parity in volleyball now. Mm-hmm. And I've talked this year about, just for people that aren't familiar with our sport is growing exponentially right now. It's just blowing up. And part of that is just because the junior level is blowing up. We have the fastest growing participation, I think, in all high school sports, if I remember correctly, or something along those lines. And with that, you're just getting this abundance of talent or abundance of athletes that can play the game. And if you train them the right way, you can go out and beat everybody. So I think if you were to rewind 10 years and you look at the NCAA tournament, when you saw the bracket, you're like, well, this is going to be the Elite Eight. And that would be the Elite Eight. And it's the talent gap was that big. And now you're seeing first-round upsets. Second round, I couldn't tell you who's going to win half of those matches. So anybody can beat everybody. And we're looking forward to that chance.
I read this. The last time A&M played in the tournament was 2019. So excuse the math. Are there any players around from that team?
No.
I didn't think so.
And we have some players that have transferred from other schools that have been to the tournament. But for the most part, this is a group that hasn't done it. So I think when you look at the pictures of when we made it, there was some emotion that was shown. And, man, it was dramatic. We were the last team shown on the board, basically. So,
were you getting scared?
Yeah. I went from, hey, what happens to nervous to I don't think we're getting in to all of a sudden we're in. And range of emotions that went in there. So. But if you look at, the sheer joy that's on our players' faces, it's the first time that they get to go represent their school in the NCAA tournament. And that's something that's really, really special. And I don't want to lose sight of how, amazing of a step that is, both for the people that are involved, but for the program as a whole.
Well, I want you guys to go through the whole thing and win it all. Regardless of how well you do, you're building a house, right? This is a piece of the brick, and these players can take this with them.
And I've said it the entire time. One of my goals for this program is to get it to where it has been. And this has been a program that was consistently, I think there's 27 NCAA appearances now in the tournament. And the program that's been to, I think, 8 Sweet 16s, been to 2 Elite Eights, and that's rare territory for teams to go to and to do it repeatedly. So our goal is to make this a regular occurrence, that the expectation is to hear our name called on Selection Sunday, and then to push it further and further and further into the tournament. So this is the first, pouring of that foundation for me. That we're getting this program back there, and again, setting it to be the expectation that we go there every single year, and we continue to build on that as time goes forward. But right now, we got business to take care of against Texas.
When Texas A&M volleyball is at its best, what happens?
We play with. Are you talking about what happens?
What are we seeing?
Yeah,
what is the brand that we see at your best?
I think we play with a level of emotion, and we're taking it to our opponent. I think there's an attitude that goes along with that. I think blocking wise, we get back to the basics of that, and we're touching and stuffing a lot of volleyballs. And it's going to be interesting. Like, again, like when I'm looking at Texas and looking at being in their shoes, like I think you're going to have the number 1 blocker in the country versus the number 2 blocker in the country. You're going to have, I think, 2 teams in the top 10 of blocks per set. So it's going to be an interesting push back and forth between kind of 2 personalities that are matching. But the blocking piece is there, and then we take big rips, take big swings of volleyballs. We play aggressively, and we don't back down. And I think the cool thing is we got nothing to lose at this point, so we're going to go play like that.
So I'm looking at some of these. You're heading into the postseason with some Logan named second straight All-SEC team, and Buchanan's going to the All-SEC freshman team. Just some cool accolades.
Yeah, and it's a testament to the work put in. And this is the same thing I told our team. Just when we won, I was really emotional, and probably not the best speech I've ever given, but a lot of it was like we set a goal in January of getting this program back to the NCAA tournament. We talked about the work that has to go into that. So that's the weight room, that's the practice gym, that's the summer, that's the, way we eat. All of these little things add up into something. And it was a bumpy ride a little bit, especially near the end of that. But that we got this program there is really, really important.
Well, it's been fun to watch the journey. Just some thoughts about the other teams there that you'll be seeing, Texas State and SMU potentially.
Yeah, it's all Texas regional. So obviously spend a little bit more time on Texas. I'll get into the other 2 probably here over the next couple of days. But watched a little bit of SMU earlier, just randomly. They played a lot of SEC teams, and I got to know Sam, their head coach, quite a bit just while I was making the recruiting rounds with camps, and I have a ton of respect there. And then Texas State, just perennially one of the better programs in the country, and just one of those mid-majors that's constantly in the tournament and constantly upsetting people left and right. So a lot of good teams that are in there. So yeah.
Well, good luck, my friend.
Yeah. And then I just got to add this. We just had a reception. I don't know if you guys heard this, but we hired a new football coach.
Oh,
yeah.
They got one.
Breaking news.
Hey now.
Yeah.
He's a rock star.
Yeah, no, but I think we hired her, and I don't know the X's and O's of football, so time will tell on that. But I've heard good things. I've seen good things, but we hired a really quality human being, and I think that's really, really important that we have people that are influencing the next generation in a positive way. So
you get to spend a few minutes chatting with him.
Yeah. We talked for about 5 minutes and knew everything that was going on with my program already. So
wow.
I said good luck on Thursday, and just talked about his family and the move here and why, and I think we hired a really good person. I'm excited to see what happens with that program.
That's phenomenal, man. Well, we're rooting for you. We'll be watching, and we'll talk to you next week.
Perfect. We'll see you soon.
Thank you very much. Right now, caller number 1, we're going to give you a free car wash from Aggie Express Car Wash in South College Station off of William D. Fitch and William D. Fitch. They are Aggie owned and operated with the friendliest staff and a personal touch, but they offer a monthly membership to the first caller. Right now, we're going to give a free car wash. I've butchered this one. Like, usually I got it on point.
Memorized.
You want to finish it for me?
I don't have it memorized.
979-693-1150. Right now, we'll give the first caller a free car wash from Aggie Express Car Wash in South College Station. Hello, our friends at the CW8. Hello. Hi, you guys. We got the KBTX crew in the house. TexAgs Radio presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. Nicole, hello.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Howdy. Howdy.
Are you doing a joke?
No.
Okay.
All right.
Tyler, hello.
Hello. Good morning. It's a
Morgan,
great
howdy.
morning.
Howdy.
How are you guys? All right.
Howdy.
Let's get into it. So,
busy day.
like,
Busy couple days.
Do you guys want to start with the presser? Do you want to start with Saturday? It feels
we
like
should
one
start with
long day.
Saturday.
Let's go chronological order.
Saturday was like a year ago.
But it sets up the presser.
It does set
It's a
up the
very.
presser.
It does.
We'll make a good documentary someday.
Oh,
30 for 30.
What if I told you in 48 hours?
That's not the only documentary. We've got the whole Jimbo time,
Oh, yeah.
the
This is,
recruiting class, the fight with Nick Saban.
Oh, that was so fun.
Lane Kiffin.
A 10-part series.
Like,
It's been a wild couple of years.
it has been. So we'll go to Saturday. Great game until the end. right?
Until like the
Until
middle
we
of the
lost.
third quarter.
Yeah, but the fourth quarter, I mean, they were leading, right?
Momentum was starting to shift.
Absolutely. All right, so you got the game, great start. Then you've got the Mark Stoops fiasco.
Yeah.
Like
Stoopsgate.
Stoopsgate, oops, Stoops, right?
Oops, Stoops.
And the whole social media, Aggie Twitter went crazy. Then the Mike Elko. So kind of take me through what you're thinking as all these things are happening. Nicole, you start us off.
So Daryl and I made the trip out west to Baton Rouge, I-10.
That'd be east.
That
right?
would be east.
Yes.
We were coming back west.
Yes.
We were
Directions.
we were
Never
coming
east
back
on
west when we were listening to Taylor Swift's new album, 1989, Taylor's version.
Bruff listens to that?
He asked. He goes.
Oh, I didn't know that part
He
of
was
it.
like, "Do you have the Taylor Swift album on your phone?" I go, "Do I?" I think he was trying to like stay awake. But who needs to stay awake when you start getting? We got a couple texts that were like, "Hey, are you seeing this?" Mark Stoops, and you're checking Twitter, and I was like, his phone was blowing up, my phone. So I'm texting from both of our phones. I feel like Schefty in the car, and I have to like turn Taylor Swift down, and then it was a sad moment. But then we were just, I don't remember where we were. We were outside Houston. Like I don't even want to I don't remember. So I don't even want to guess. But people were like, Daryl was just like, Mark Stoops. Like he just kept would like every 10 minutes just say that. So like that's who. And when you go through a coaching search, when you fire someone, and especially fire someone for $77 million, you want kind of the opposite of what you're getting. And Mark Stoops just kind of has a lot of similarities to Jimbo. So I think that's what was really surprising to everyone. And the 10 o'clock sportscast was coming up, and they were trying to figure out, like, what do we run? How do we run it? And then by the time Daryl and I got back, Mark was not coming.
Yeah, it was by midnight. It was over, right?
Yeah.
So I went to sleep at 10:45-ish on
That's
Saturday
late
night.
for you.
Well, Saturday night. Party time.
A little wild.
Party.
Yeah. And when I woke up, unfortunately, at 4:45. And I just I fell asleep on the couch, and I glanced at my phone, and my phone was going crazy. It's like, Stoops. And I was like, oh, it's not Stoops. So take me through your Saturday.
Yeah, Saturday for us was a little crazy. It was poor timing for us because we have the 10
Poor
p.m.
planning.
show, so we see everything happening,
Yeah.
and we can't not say something because even though it's not finalized, like you have to say on air, hey, Mark Stoops might be the next guy. And both of us were kind of confused about the hire too because he wasn't even on our radar necessarily. But honestly, in hindsight, I feel bad for Mark Stoops just because of the reaction that we saw. It was like rage.
I don't think it was directly at Mark Stoops.
No.
I think it's what it felt like.
But if that was you, you'd be like, oh, they really don't want me.
Well, have you seen the spin from Kentucky? It's like he didn't want it. He backed out.
Right.
That's what
He
they're
turned
saying.
it down,
Which
yeah.
look, I'm sure if I got wind that the fan base hated me, I'd probably want to back out too.
Yeah.
Right. No, it was a little insane. We just did have to kind of throw something together, and we're saying, hey, these are the reports. It's not finalized, but it could be Mark Stoops. We had all the video from 2018 and other sideline games.
Right.
They had been ready to go, and yeah, by the time all that finishes, then it doesn't happen, and yeah, it was just kind of insane. And then we're the next day we're on to Elko, and it was crazy, like 48 hours.
Just a weird 48-hour event. So let's go to it announced. It's going to be Mike Elko, and then yesterday's presser. the way I describe it is it just feels right. Is that what your takeaway was?
It does. The way we got there was just weird, because I feel like that was the hire. If that was the guy you wanted to begin with, you could have made that call on November 12th and he would have accepted, and we didn't have to go through this weird dance thing. And I get that, they have to vet everybody and they are looking at a bunch of candidates. But this, to me, was the easiest hire, and with what they were working with, probably the best hire, the safest maybe.
Right.
I think it was the best damage control hire that you could have made, just after what happened with Mark Stoops. And then the players' reaction when they first heard Stoops, they're like, no, we only want Elijah Robinson. And I think Mike Elko is your best chance of keeping that locker room intact and limiting the transfers as well. So, and he seems like a good guy. I don't know. I like him.
Yeah, I like him a lot.
I wasn't here when he was here originally, so I was asking some just other media members and some of the athletic staff, just like, hey, what's the draw with Mark Stoops, or not Mark Stoops? What's the draw with Mike Elko?
Mark Stoops, nothing.
I was asking them, I wanted to get their opinion. No, the draw on Elko, and everyone just says he's great. We love him. He's awesome. Just really
And didn't he come across that way?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's genuine, blue collar, humble, ready to get to work. Just he left to go cut his teeth a little bit, and and we're back. And I talked to his wife after the press conference, after the welcoming ceremony, and we were walking onto Kyle Field, and she was just they were almost in tears. They were so happy to be back.
That is nice. Morgan, is it weird to have a coach at A&M that people like? Because I feel like the reaction on social media from everybody is pretty positive. This is the right guy. That. There's not much of of course, people make their 8-4 jokes and whatever, but I feel like this Elko hire is really universally accepted.
I think it is as well. And I don't know if it's weird because I wasn't here when Jimbo first got hired, so I don't know what the initial reaction to that was.
It was great.
I'm sure it was great. So I think your initial reaction is really happy, but I think Aggies want to see results immediately. So I hope he can get that for them so he can continue to be liked.
Well, we're in the honeymoon phase right now, and there hasn't been any games played. So it's
let me pause it, because yes, that's all true. I'm meaning more like the people who usually poo-poo, if I can use that term, on A&M.
It's your show.
Every chance that they get, right? I was thinking of what
CW friendly.
Yeah, I just I feel like there's certain personalities on social media that are college football experts, if you will, or analysts that like to come at A&M every chance, and I feel like those guys are I think it's going to work.
Yeah, well, I don't think there's much you can knock on Elko, because he hasn't. Now, if it was Stoops and he has kind of a longer history, and there's a lot of criticism, you think Elko, since he hasn't coached for that long at the head coaching level, there's not a whole lot you can nitpick, because what he has done in that short time is pretty remarkable at Duke. And then his track record as a defensive coordinator, he's been excellent and has had great defenses. So there's nothing really negative you can say at this point. It's just a lot of unknowns.
I think it just helps a lot because he was already with the program. So people can say he knows, and he recruited those players, some of the players. And just when he came into the press conference of the second one with the media, he just jokes you guys have been asking to talk to me and now I'm here.
Yeah.
It's kind of a rekindling of an old friendship, kind of we don't have to do. You already know what he's like. You already know what his coaching style's like. He's learned some new things going to Duke as being an actual head coach. Now he's coming back and still wanting to There's still the ceiling is there's still so much for him to grow for him.
Right.
But I just feel like there's kind of that fourth wall with him that you're able to know him already.
Let's hit a break. We're going to come back with more. We're doing the 2-segmenter today.
Ooh.
Yeah. More of that here on TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. TexAgs Radio, TexAgs in the morning, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. With the big three from KBTX. All right, so I do want to kind of
We're like a band.
Where's Daryl?
He is recovering.
He's our manager.
He's recovering. He's probably watching. I know he
Hi, Daryl.
watches. He covered his 6th coaching change yesterday.
Wow. And he's only 40 years old.
Crazy.
Crazy.
A&M's just turning him over.
He just had a birthday too, so
Happy
belated.
birthday, DB.
On Thanksgiving.
I just want initials on him. All right, let's talk about that contract. Incentive-based contract. Ross Bjork had mentioned that was what they were going to try to do.
Does everyone have a sheet? Does everyone?
Right?
I should have brought it.
But honestly, I know a lot of people were very critical of the situation on Saturday. That contract to me, it just works. It's the right plan, and I think other programs are going to start adopting that kind of mentality.
Well, I think you have to because you can't. We've seen what happens when you give the guaranteed high dollar big contract, and then what happens when only one coach is successful at the end of the year. So what happens when you're guaranteeing all this money? So incentive based, what's the market value for Mike Elko? Going from Duke to A&M, but I think the one thing that really stands out is the assistance pool. They're putting a lot of, it's strength and conditioning support assistance, but $11 million. I feel like you can get a lot from that.
What's crazy, that's even less than what Jimbo had.
I know.
But it still is a very, very big amount. But no, I like the incentive-based pay. I mean, I think, and I liked what Elko said when, we're going to be about it. We're not going to talk about it. Because, I'm glad they didn't bring out an empty plaque that said Mike Elko, national champion, 20-. I think.
Has that happened before?
Yeah, it sounds familiar.
I think they learned their lesson.
So, yeah, I think they're learning their lessons. And I think the whole, you got to earn it or you got to work for it to earn it. So
you do got to earn it. Let's talk a little bit about something. As long as you guys don't enter the transfer portal, you're going to get to experience Texas versus Texas A&M. It is a Saturday, November 30th. Morgan, you start us off. We've got the date. It's the final game. The first year of the 12-team playoff plus Texas and Oklahoma in the conference.
Yeah, I'm really excited. I think that's going to be really great for both the schools. And it's here at Kyle Field, which is even more exciting. And I think it's a good time because that's rivalry week, right? So I think the dates make sense. I know it used to be the Friday after Thanksgiving. So I don't know. I'm pumped.
It's been Thanksgiving Day, the Friday after. I'm just happy that they're going to start playing again, and we feel comfortable with our coach.
Yeah, no, that weekend's the perfect for it. I think it's kind of what we expected. I'm just glad it's, official, that it is going to be that Saturday, last game of the season. Depending on how the season goes, that could have huge implications for both teams. And, I don't know if we're going to ever see a more excited Kyle Field than that night. Just thinking about it. It's going to be
cray.
We're going to break the sound barrier. It's going to be loud.
Do people
Hopefully
say
not
cray?
11 a.m.
Cray?
It's not going to be 11
Cray?
a.m.
Yeah.
People still say it?
Cray?
No.
Okay.
Cray.
I was trying to make me feel better.
Yeah,
I was just asking, what do you guys say for lit? What do you say?
Ooh.
What do you say?
Just say what you feel. You don't have to.
Thank you for
don't-
making it more awkward. As you were saying.
It's gonna be lit. It's gonna be great.
Off the chain?
Ooh. No, it's gonna be awesome. It's awesome, cool.
Be
1979.
I think it's gonna be feral.
Yeah, we're digging these adjectives.
Wow. Okay.
Well, it's gonna be wild. It's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be like A&M in Texas could break the capacity record.
Oh, it's going to.
Yes, it's going to
yeah.
be, and it's probably hopefully if it's an 11 a.m. kick, I swear
it won't.
Those two teams could be 3 and 9, and it would not be 11 a.m.
Hey, how about this? We went through 2 segments, and we didn't even get to the KBTX Big 3 observations.
Oh, we're still doing that.
Darn.
Which means
our branding.
Which means we're gonna have to. Okay, it's eliminated. It'll never be done again. I see.
No.
We're gonna have to do a year-end recap at some point. All right,
Yeah.
let's do that after the bowl game. Sounds okay?
Yeah.
All right.
The Texas Bowl.
We don't know that for sure.
Music City Bowl, maybe.
Maybe Music City.
It's
Manifesting
90.
it.
I think every. What do you call it? Preview or prediction out there is saying Texas Bowl.
Yeah.
There's one that did say Music City Bowl.
Yeah.
Which
Texas
one-
Bowl makes the most
Which
sense.
one would you rather have?
Oh, a drivable one.
which would be the Texas Bowl.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, friends.
Right down the road.
Appreciate you. When we come back, Jordan Pugh joining us here on TexAgs Radio. Leon O'Neal at the end of the show. That and more is TexAgs. I feel like this next hour is going to feel kind of like, I don't want to say Skip Bayless and Stephen A. Smith, because it's not, I mean, these guys have substance, but we got some opinions coming over the next hour. At 10:35, Leon O'Neal, he's never shy with his opinions. And right now, we go to the Brian Foley Law Hotline. My dude, Jordan Pugh, we talked a little bit this weekend. What's up, Jordan?
Yeah, nothing much, man. Nothing much at all. How you doing down there?
I like to smile. You're happy. Tell me more. What are you happy about?
Hey, man, you know, we got a little change. A little change in the air, right? You know, got a good hire. I thought, you know, just seeing all the stuff over the weekend, like you said, we talked, hearing all the rumors, it could be this guy, that guy. I think at the end of the day, we got the right guy in the building. When you look at Elko, I think what you got was a coach. You got a football coach first and foremost, but you got a guy who understands the temperature, understands what needs to be done. I think that breeds a lot of hope. It breeds a lot of excitement too. I just think that with him being in the building and the players being bought in, that's the one thing I was looking at. We talked about where I thought anybody could be successful, but you also have to have the right pieces. But the buy-in from the players, seeing what the players' reaction was, I thought that was big because this is somebody that they believed in, somebody that they know, somebody that they can trust. When you have the new coaches that come in, it's a trust factor. From the coach, they got to be able to trust the players. The players, they're trying, one, to impress the coach to be able to earn spots, but also does his way really work. So this is a guy that that has been successful within the system and has that relationship. So, man, I think this is something that's good. I'm excited about it. And now, I'm like him, like he said in the presser, ready to get to work and start building something that's sustainable.
Talking to Jordan Pugh on the Brian Foley Law Hotline. So you've talked to people, right? I'm sure you've talked to some former players. What do you get the sense from them, like what they feel?
I think we all feel the same thing. We all feel like this is a guy that's going to hold each and every one of the players to the standard. Okay, him being in the program, I think him being under Jimbo and watching what he went through, but also understanding what needs to take place in Aggie land. I think he understands what the task is, and being able to set and hold players to that standard, I think, is what's key. So we brought in a lot of talent, right? So he recruited a lot of the talent. Everybody knows the story behind that. But also you saw a lot of that play out with undisciplined guys kind of doing their own thing, the accountability kind of wavering here and there. I think he understands, man, in order for this to be sustainable, you have to have a level of accountability. You have to have guys understanding what their role is, no matter how high profile you are, no matter what type of accolades you've had coming in to Texas A&M. That means absolutely nothing when you step on campus. You got to earn your stripes every single day and every single moment. So I think him understanding who he is, just the fabric of who he is, that played out yesterday. You got to hear kind of his heart yesterday. I think players resonate with that. At the end of the day, man, every player wants to be coached, but every player wants to know that he has the opportunity to be successful. And I think that's what every single person in Aggie is searching for. And I think that he has a blueprint so far that can lean those results, right? So, man, it's exciting. But most importantly, more than anything, the players were excited. That's the most important factor in all of this. Not the fans, not the higher-ups, not the Board of Regents, the players. If the players are bought in, you will see success faster with that happening.
So it's the first defensive hire at head coach at A&M since R.C. Slocum. As a defensive player yourself, getting back to what I think has been look, we're in a different world of college football where everybody talks about the offense, right? But all that being said, you may talk about the offense, but the teams that are winning championships have had very strong defenses.
Right. Well, I think that's just a media play. I think that's overblown. They kill me with this. This is an offensive-minded guy, defensive-minded guy. At the end of the day, you need a guy who has a vision for the program, who holds people to the standard. And what we've talked about all year, toughness. There is a lack of toughness in this program. You can have the best players in the world, but if you have the best players in the world that are not held accountable and they are not tough, it doesn't yield you any type of success. I think what you hear and what you get out of Elko is you get a blue-collar guy who the first thing he's going to implement is the toughness. I think that's the change that we need. It's not the level of talent. It's not the level of acquisition because he's been a proven guy who can recruit. You have a guy like Elijah staying on staff where he can recruit as well. That's never going to be an issue for us with what A&M has to offer. Are we a tough football team mentally and physically? Can we handle the rigors of the SEC? It's not a talent issue or a talent gap, but when they talk about the attrition of a season, a lot of that comes down to the mental and physical toughness of a group. And I think Elko understands that. That's what we need. I think that's the first thing he's going to implement. And I think that's going to lay the foundation for what we need moving forward.
What stood out about Elko his first stint here at A&M? Just like, obviously he didn't talk very much, but just the way the defense went about their business.
Physical, fast, physical, and made plays. You saw over the 4 years how they progressed. Each and every year they improved. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think it was in the top 5 by the time he got it to his last year, top 5 in defense, if I'm not mistaken. So when you see that, you saw a guy who laid a foundation first, and then he built the house upon that. You brought the players in that fit that scheme, but you also knew the type of player that you would get that would be productive on the field. I think that he needs to hold true to his plan. He needs to be unwavering in his plan. And I think that you saw in that small sample size that he had, you saw a guy who could build something that's sustainable. I think that's what everybody's excited about. I think that's what everybody is searching for. They're searching for what is sustainable. We've done the flash. We've done the zeroed in hires, but who can sustain the success instead of having the flashes of success that we've had through all these coaches, through all the coaches that we've hired. So I think that's going to be the key, man, moving forward.
Well, I mean, think about this, man. This is a team that led every single game this year but one at halftime. That game was the Miami game, which they should have led at halftime, right? They just were. Yep. It was a dumb end of the first half. If they keep this core together, like, this is a team that can win, like, just with the right mentality, the right, you know what I'm saying?
The reason why this job was so coveted is because if any coach is looking at this with any set of eyes, and let's just say you just turn on the coach's film and you watch A&M and you look at the cupboard that we have, you're like, there is no reason this team shouldn't be winning. Right. So over the past few weeks, we talked about what the issues were, all this other type stuff. It's not a lack of talent. It's not a lack of resources. It's not a lack of facilities. At the end of the day, football will never change. It's about a group of people who are tough. It's about a group of people who know how to finish. It's about a guy who lays out a vision, holds people to that standard. And if you are not on that road getting to where we're trying to go, you got to get out. That's what it boils down to. Now, the organizational play, or, being organized, understanding the systems, logistics, all that stuff comes into factor. That's just what it is. That's the job. But at the end of the day, the core of any football team is toughness. That is the core. And I think that's what we have lacked over these years, man. We have not lacked in talent or any of those things. The one thing that I heard out of Elko that I was trying to hear, because everything else is just coach speak to me, is I heard toughness. I heard a certain intensity. The same thing I told you about Saban, the same thing I told you about Kirby. When you hear them speak, there's a certain type of intensity that you feel when you hear them talk, like a Mike Tomlin, for example. That's what I wanted to hear. And I think that'll resonate through the locker room. That'll resonate through the building. And I think that'll pay dividends down the road when you talk about sustainability.
Well, you mentioned toughness. He talks about blue-collar mentality, right? Is blue-collar mentality, and I think there's probably two parts to this answer. Can it be taught? Can it be instilled? Or do you have to recruit those kind of guys? Or is it really more of a combination of the two?
It can't be taught or instilled. It's required. That's what it is. And see, that's the problem. So, look, like when you get into to the recruiting phase, it's cool that you have the 4 and 5 stars. That's nice, and that's regulated through publications and whatnot. But when eyeing talent, with my requirement, do they meet that? And then can I bring that into the building? I think that's the difference with Elko. I think that's what Elko looks for. When you look at what he did at Duke, you know that you're taking on a program that has high academic standards, which doesn't allow certain type of players to get in there. So you have to recruit a certain type of guy. You have to recruit a certain type of guy who's bought into the program, bought into the school, and understands they have to develop a certain type of toughness that comes with that. I think he understands that, and I think he understands that moving forward with A&M, that's the missing piece. I don't believe that you can be taught toughness. I believe that's something that's in you. There's a certain type of fight to you. There's a certain type of want to you. And I think you have to identify those type of players who have the talent level that can compete at the SEC, but also who have that mindset and mentality. And if you can get those guys in the building, if you can flood the complex with that, you will see an overhaul with this football team, and you will see a foundation that will lead to sustained success. And I think that's what you get with Elko, and I think Elko understands that. That's what I'm excited about.
Drew, I'm going to read this text. I'm going to give my answer, then I want you to follow up with it. He says, can you guys talk about the hope for Coach Elko is different than the hope we had with Jimbo, all right? And here's what I think. I think with Jimbo, we expected Jimbo to win 10, 12 games a year because he had done it at Florida State. It was an expectation because of past history. With Elko, I feel like it's expected because he's going to work towards it. There's a different. It's not because of history. It's because of a different type of hunger here. He hasn't proven it yet. He's got to prove it.
Ooh, I think that's a good answer. It's a hunger because he has to prove it. You're looking at a guy who's relatively young in his head coaching experience. All right, so we break it down that way. You're looking at 2 years of head coaching experience, right? But you have a guy who's been a part of big time success within college football, and I think Ross said this in the press conference when he researched it. Everything boiled down to, man, a hunger, a want to, but most importantly, we go back to the same word of toughness. And I think that's what Elko was bringing. You have a coach. I think the difference between Jimbo and Elko is Jimbo was a guy who has won. He won at a high level. He won at a high level for a consistent period of time, won a national championship. And I don't want to use the word complacency because I don't think that was necessarily the case, but lack of a better word, I think there's a certain complacency as in this is my way. My way is the only way, and I'm not willing to change. The one thing I like that Elko said in the presser was we have to be adaptable, and whatever that takes in order to win, we have to be able to adapt to that, adapt to a certain scheme, adapt to a way that we recruit, adapt to the player in a certain sense in order to make us successful. I think he understands that in today's game. I also think he understands that because there's a hunger and a want to prove that you are worthy of this position. I think those factors play a major role in why people are excited, but also play a major role in the difference between him and Jimbo when they first come in.
It looks like from reports out that David Feely, his strength and conditioning coach from Duke, is coming aboard, and the reviews of this dude are just incredible. Just you've said it for a long time on this show. Like, it starts there. Just take it away.
People, gosh, if the general public could just understand how important that hire is, the players spend the majority of their time with that strength coach. The strength coach is essentially the assistant head coach, okay? You've got to have a guy who is going to instill everything that you want to instill in your program. He has got to be at the forefront of that. He's got to have the team tough, man. He's got to be able to build men in that weight room, on that field, when he talks to them privately, when he's disciplining those guys. That is such a key hire at this age and stage in college football. And I think him bringing him along, understanding the type of impact that he has, the reviews that he has, man, there's a reason why what's his name? The guy that was at Alabama, I can't think of his name right now, ended up going to Georgia. Their strength coach. There's a reason why Kirby plucked him, because he understood what that means. You know what I mean? And so I think bringing him along, understanding what the task at hand is, I think that's big too. He's bringing in his guys who are like-minded, those guys who are mentally tough, his blue-collar mentality. You're getting that in the building, and that's going to overrun the building, man, when you have that type of influence.
Jordan, I was going to ask you how important it is to keep the core that he has here, but I'm going to rephrase that question. How important is it that he keeps the right guys? Because he's got to evaluate what is my motto, my kind of guys, and what we may think should stay, he may have a different opinion. Or some guys that maybe didn't feel like they fit, maybe they now fit because of the way he goes about his business.
So I know this has been a question you asked me before, and I think the last time we talked, you asked me what would I do if I got brought in. I said one of the first things I would do is I would talk to every single player. I don't care what your accolades were. At the end of the day, you were not getting it done here. That's why I'm sitting in this position right now. That's why I'm in this building today, is because there had to be a change. I think, man, like you said, understanding who the right fit is going to be one of the most important things. I understand that one of the premises of him being hired was being able to retain the talent. I think that's a double-edged sword. Okay. I think that that's very important, because talent, at the end of the day, it's a talent acquisition business. You have to be able to have talent in order to win games. But also the flip side of that is you got to be able to have the right talent. You got to be able to have the talent that is bought into your system. You have to be able to have selfless talent. And I think that's the thing that he's going to have to identify, and it's going to be crucial in this next week, really by Saturday, that he has got to figure out who are these people that I can essentially, for lack of a better term, go to war with, go to battle with. Who is going to be in that foxhole with me? Now, you will be able to detect that early on with some players, but you won't be able to detect that until after spring football, after you've had a period of time, after you've seen their work ethic, after you've seen their commitment level, after you've seen them on field, how they handle your coaching. A lot of that will lead to turnover too. I think that is the most important thing when it comes to this season coming up. I don't think it's necessarily recruiting because he's proved he can do that. I don't think that's an issue. But it's who can formulate this team moving into 2024, and who or where do I need to cut the dead weight? And it may be some names that you don't want to see go, but it may be in the betterment of the program.
I like that. Jordan Pugh with us here on the Brian Foley Law Hotline. I want to spend at least one question on the game plan Elijah Robinson and company had against LSU. Obviously, not a good fourth quarter, but man, I thought that keep away offense and the way they played. I mean, I thought they played it perfectly for about 2.5, 3 quarters.
2 plays lost that game: the missed field goal and the interception Henderson threw. What quarter? Maybe the third. Was it third or fourth quarter?
I think it was the beginning of the fourth quarter.
Okay, those are the 2 plays that lost the game because then the momentum swung from there. They were playing catch up from that point. Look, we said this, a few weeks into the season. What would it look like as the season finished? I said they can win and they can lose. The one thing that we talked about going into that game was how would the defense hold up against Daniels? I thought they played a phenomenal game. I told you that pass rush is going to be the neutralizer. I said the one comp that you can use for A&M leading into that game was Alabama. Because when it comes to a defense, we're almost a mirror image to what they are, especially in the front seven. That front seven kept them contained. I think through the third quarter, if I'm not mistaken, I want to say Daniels had maybe 82 total yards offense or something like that. It's something of that nature. Maybe first half, whatever it was. And they kept them contained. The way that Durkin was mixing it up, I thought he was confused. When you look at it overall, he played one of his worst games in his Heisman run against our defense. I just thought that those 2 plays that we had, man, it just turned a lot of the momentum against us. And it put LSU in short fields. It gave them opportunistic opportunities on offense to be able to take advantage of. And I thought those were the things that swung the game away from us.
Let's close it out with this. Texas A&M, Texas, Saturday, November 30th, 2024. I mean, it's been a minute.
I'll be there. I'm gonna be there.
All right.
I don't care.
I'm telling you
I'll
right
be
now.
on the sideline.
I'm asking you a year in advance. Come join us for the post-game wrap right after.
I'm doing it. I'm gonna be on the sideline to get all that. But yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off with your question. But yeah, I got a little excited.
Hey, I set it out there. It's there. Let's talk about it. Now we got a date. Now we know it's the end of the season. New coach for A&M. Elko going into his first year. Sark going into his first year in the SEC. And he's had a really good year this year in the Big 12. So just talk about just now that we know it's here, how real it feels.
Oh, man, it's good, man. And I don't think the players understand how big of a game that is until game week gets here. Because you got to remember, these core players don't really know the magnitude of the Texas A&M game. They may know of it. They may know parts of the history, but they didn't really get to feel it because it's been 10 plus years since they've seen it. You see what I mean?
Right.
But I mean, the intensity level is unmatched, especially being at home. Kyle Field is going to be rocking. Man, I can't imagine how loud that thing's going to be. I just remember my senior year when we played. That was the year they went to the national championship and played Alabama. We should have won that game. And they had that kick return on us, man, that swung it in the fourth quarter. But I just remember the way the stadium was shaking that night, man. Like the intensity level. You hear about Alabama, Auburn, you hear about Ohio State and Michigan. I think a lot of people are shortchanging this because I truly think it's been a period of time since they've seen it, but they don't really understand how big it is in the state. So I'm excited for the players that they finally get to see that, they get to experience that, they get to feel that, and they get to understand what it really means to play that game.
Jordan, I always appreciate your insight. Love doing football season with you. Let's do it again around the bowl game, all right?
Let's do it. Look forward to it.
Thank you, Jordan.
All right.
Jordan Pugh there on the Brian Foley Law Hotline. We'll hit a break, open segment. We'll hear some thoughts from Coach Elko, and we'll just kind of break them down as a group, try to go through some text messages before Leon O'Neal joins us. Right now, a moment for Caldwell Country Chevrolet. You can find them on Highway 21 in Caldwell and online at caldwellcountrychevrolet.com. Great deals that you can find on their website, good people, and just great vehicles, right? That's kind of like the whole spot, right? If in one line, you know what you're getting there. You're going to get a good price. You're going to get great customer service. You're going to get great selection. What else could you ask for? Like, you want great customer service. You want good service. You want to have a complimentary pickup. Yeah, they got it all. You want to have a great selection of vehicles. Yeah, they got it. You want to make sure you're not being sold to and getting the best price. Yeah, you got it. That's what you get when you go to Caldwell Country Chevrolet. The entire experience is top-notch. And remember, it's not a far drive. Bryan to Caldwell, we're talking about 15 minutes. I know it's the very edge of Bryan to the very beginning parts of Caldwell, but you'll be blown away when you get there and step on the lot and talk to the great people there at Caldwell Country Chevrolet. Highway 21 in Caldwell, online, caldwellcountrychevrolet.com. We're back. It is TexAgs Radio. We are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. We're in the Rollo Insurance Studio. Appreciate everybody listening in, having a good old time here on the program. I want to hear from Coach Elko here in a minute before we go to Leon O'Neal. But all that being said, I want to go back to this Mike Leslie thing, and Luke and Nick, you can jump in if you want. So I haven't heard his whole soundbite. I just read what people are saying about it. Texas A&M believes it should be among the elite in college football based on what he goes on a little diatribe. I do need to read it, right? He doubles down. I think he doubles down. He goes, and let's see if I can find it because I just lost it because I went to it. But bottom line is, he says, I'm not saying being aspirational is a problem. I'm saying belief across Aggie fans, and they're not the only fan base with this problem, but we're talking about that one today, feeds a level of expectation that isn't realistic and sets the table for repeated failure. All right, guys, let's talk about this. So aspiring for greatness that he believes is unachievable sets you up for failure. No, not at all. Act as if there's a scene in the movie, what's it called, Boiler Room, with Ben Affleck, I'm sure the kids that work here never saw that movie, all right? Where he says, act as if you're the CEO, right? Act as if. You dress the part, you act the part, right? I'm not saying that you do that 100% and equate success. But, bro, I tell you and I said, bro, sorry. When I train at the gym, I'm trying to be something I know that is not possible to get to those levels. I'll never look like freaking Hulk Hogan, right? Luke might, but I won't, right? But I work towards greatness. And if our fan base, every fan base in the world, except for maybe Vanderbilt, has unreasonable expectations. It is unreasonable for Alabama to think they're going to win every national championship ever. Unreasonable. It is reasonable to think that they're going to be in the mix every year. There's a difference, right? There's a reason nobody has won 3 back-to-back or 3 straight national championships since Minnesota in the 1930s, right? There's a reason for it. But Georgia should aspire for it. By the way, Georgia was here before. Clemson was here before. Why can't you aspire for greatness? And he's saying that's not the problem. It's that it feeds a level of expectation that isn't realistic. What the heck are you talking about? You got the resources, the players. You haven't had the coach right. Okay? And if there's other issues that need to be cleaned out, hopefully we flush those out too. But seeing that it's okay to, there's this level of expectations that you can't be reached. Bro, I'm broing a lot. Sorry, Luke. Sorry, Nick. Tampa Bay Rays went to the World Series. Should they, a few years back, should they, nah, you're the Rays, you don't spend money. The Chicago Cubs hadn't won in 100. I'm using these extreme examples. The Rangers that Bronny and Max Crawford brought up. These are all examples, recent examples. You should aspire for greatness. You should put your team on the path towards greatness. And if you think you got the right leader, then let's go. But we shouldn't expect to be invited to the party. Why? Because we haven't? You think TCU, if TCU had that mentality a couple years ago, they wouldn't have gone to the national championship game. And Dave and Edmund, don't send me your text. They shouldn't have gone. I get it. I know where you feel on that. But all that being said, you aspire for greatness, you put your best path forward, and you follow the plan. Be true to the process. Mike Elko is going to have a different process that Kevin Sumlin had, that Jimbo Fisher had, that Mike Sherman had, that Dennis Franchione had. It'll be different than RC too. And time will tell if it all works out. All right, Nick, Luke, go ahead and say something about this. You got to turn on your mic, buddy.
Yeah, it's the second time I've done that in a little bit. Shame on the hungry man for wanting a cheeseburger. I don't think it's unrealistic for A&M fans to want more when you just saw it in 2020. A&M is a Trevor Lawrence not getting COVID against Notre Dame away from making the playoffs. So when an A&M fan sees that, it's not unrealistic to want that and expect that the next year and the following year. For him to say that the expectation is unrealistic, I think is crazy. Yeah. A&M has all the pieces right here.
Yeah, look, I think he's trying to take a step back from what he was saying. And again, I haven't heard the whole thing. It's probably unfair for me to go on radio and rant. I haven't heard. I just read how Billy responded to it, Bronny, and people I respect. I'm saying that the belief across Aggie fans, and they're not the only one, feeds a level of expectation that isn't realistic and sets the table for repeated failure. Expectations don't set the table for repeated failure. Bad hires do. Bad decisions do. Nick?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think it's as simple as, and taking it away from the A&M lens, it's as simple as sports fans root for their teams to win championships. You don't root for them to finish middle of the pack. It's that simple.
Yep. Hey, Luke, I'm going to read this text, and you can provide a little bit of info because got a 979. I know Aggie football is the hot topic, but can you please, capital letters, give some airtime to the women's basketball team? They are winning. We spent a little time on them yesterday on the program. Look, volleyball, women's basketball, men's basketball. There's a lot of good stuff going on here around campus.
Yeah, A&M women's basketball just won the Raising the Bar Challenge. They beat Winthrop and the host team Cal. And then they have a huge game hosting Kansas at 1 o'clock in Reed Arena on Sunday. They played Kansas last year and they lost big time, but Joni Taylor's off to her best start at A&M, and they're looking to do some damage, and that's a huge non-conference opponent coming into Reed. And then it's a couple of cupcakes heading into the SEC schedule. They've got Lamar, Robert Morris, Missouri State Valley, and Prairie View all at home and at Reed over the break. So if you're in town, please come out and support and pack Reed for Aggie women's basketball.
All right, I believe we'll have Leon O'Neal next on TexAgs Radio. I'm going to send him a reminder. We'll try to get him here. And some final thoughts here in the last half hour of the program. You're listening to TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. Welcome back into TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. Appreciate everybody listening in. Let's go to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center as we figure out what's up with Leon O'Neal, see if we can get a couple text messages read here on the program. Luke Evangelist, please.
Absolutely. Dave in Franklin said Jordan Pugh was on fire today, and I agree.
I feel like he's always on fire. He's he's not only a bud, but I did bud again. Not only a friend, he's really good. What else do you have for us?
I've got a number from Georgia saying the primary difference between Jimbo and Elko boils down to the culture of the program. Jimbo's culture was talent above all else, and Elko talks about buying into the program and winning, and then the accolades and prizes you want as an individual come to you, not the other way around.
How much do you think we will, as a fan base, compare Jimbo to Elko, like what Jimbo did to Elko, compare Mark Stoops to what Elko does, and some of the other names out there, like like Kalen DeBoer was a pie in the sky, like he's in the middle of a playoff race. I don't think he was ever. Maybe Jed Fish would be somebody we will compare. I believe there's a few of those names, Luke.
Yeah, someone said that for your whole blue collar shirt idea, that we should be calling it a maroon collar mentality.
Oh, okay. And then it would just be a maroon shirt, like we always.
Oh, you're
have.
right.
It would just be the same shirt.
Well, what if they did a blue shirt with a maroon collar?
A blue shirt that would feel Kentucky. What? Yeah. Oh wait, a blue shirt with a maroon collar.
Yeah.
Then it would. Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
Then you look like one of those guys on the sideline that like pulls in the play.
That defeats the point of being blue collar mentality.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, I didn't think that one.
It's okay to incorporate other colors.
Yeah.
I say be open, be free. Let's get another text message in, shall we?
Tony in Lexington, Kentucky says anti-A&M bias makes me mad. All the folks saying sawing him off is weird have never mentioned anything good that A&M does.
Yeah, well, my whole thing is, guys, like if it makes you feel that much better to make fun of people, you got to be one of the guys on social media and get your likes and your yay, I made fun of people. I'm so big and strong. Look at me. I got a fake name and I just make fun of people. What? Is that my Valley Girl kind of thing?
Yeah, you're just on point with your impressions today.
They're not good, but they set a tone.
Yeah.
Right? I'm like Mike Elko, except my tone is not the same kind.
And speaking of setting a tone, he talked about how he's ready for pressure. Steve in College Station said that without pressure, there are no diamonds. Yeah. Steve, you must be a chemistry major.
Or you just have watched movies before and kind of understand stuff, or you got on Google and Wikipedia. How often do you Google just normal tasks in life to see if you know how to do it?
Not often, actually.
Really? Is that your generation, not what you do?
Yeah. I don't think I know how to change a tire, to be totally honest with you.
Yeah, now that you mention that, and by the way, we're gonna get to some Mike Elko sound because I'm not sure what's up with Leon. Now that you mention that, Luke, I do know that about you because you didn't know how to mail something.
Before we dive into that, let's just say that there were two people on that project, so let's just go ahead and deal out equal blame to both parties.
There was a movie reference earlier in the show that I haven't watched, Dumb and Dumber. And that's what it was with you and Cade when it came to all that. So there is that.
In my defense, the very kind lady working at the post office never asked for a return address or a name.
No, you just know to do that.
I know how to send an email, not an actual thing of mail. That's just not how my generation was raised. If she didn't ask us for it, Cade and I never would have known to give it to her.
So, like, you never had... Okay, I don't want to make this a whole thing again. But you never had a pen pal, right?
No.
You just went like chat rooms and chatted with randos.
No, that might be you, David. That is
Craigslist.
Not me.
Is that how you met your friends?
Yeah, that's how I have to meet my friends because I have no friends.
All right, let's hear from Mike Elko from yesterday's press conference. Look, we talk about the pressure of being in the SEC. We talk about the pressure of winning at Texas A&M, and it hasn't been done since 1939. So like, there's expectations from a fan base, and then of course from afar, different expectations. Mike Elko's like, I want it all.
When you look at what this program is capable of, what we've got to do is we've got to fulfill that potential. And I think that happens with work. And I think that was the message I sent to the players. That was the message I tried to deliver to the crowd. We can't just say we want to be something. We can't just say we want to arrive somewhere. We've got to be committed to all the work that it's going to take from today until we kick off next September of doing that. And there's a lot that goes into that. There's culture building. There's camaraderie. There's connecting with the players. There's the players connecting at a greater level with each other. There's strength and conditioning. There's development. There's so much that goes into winning football games in the fall, and those are the things that we've got to start taking pride in. It's easy to take pride in making big plays on Saturday in front of 110,000 people. Are we willing to do the things that we need to do when no one's looking so that we can have the results that we want come the fall?
There's a lot to unpack there. Are we willing to do the things that other people won't see when nobody's watching, right? First off, there is no day 2 and day 3 without a day 1. I hear from people all the time that I need to do this. I need to start a diet. I need to start working out. I need to do this. I'll do it after the new year. I'll do it. That's not how it works, guys. Champions now. Like, it's immediate. Like, there's no, like, if you're delaying stuff in life, it ain't going to happen. Not at a high level, right? Can you get by? Sure. Wait, you're going to wait to study for the test? I got till Sunday. Well, I'll start. It doesn't work, right? And that's the mentality that Mike Elko's bringing to this team. Like, it starts now. Like, the moment you walk into this weight room, it starts, right? There's a level of professionalism, a level of expectation, and a level of work. And that's for all things in life. And what I think Mike is going to be preaching and teaching these guys, based on that soundbite alone, is that, like, that is something you can carry with you in every walk of life. Business, athletics, family. It doesn't wait. It is every day. It is, and this is the example I use with my kids all the time. And it's an example that you can use. We can all use. It is sand in an hourglass, guys, right? That one piece of sand on, what is today? Tuesday, November 28th, may not seem like a lot, right? But as each piece of sand falls in to the bottom of that, whatever it's called, hourglass. Thank you, Luke. And they start getting on top of each other, then when you get to April, when you get to spring game, when you get to fall camp, when you get to Notre Dame, the first game of the season, all that work that nobody watched, right? Not when the media's out there with their cameras, not for the open practice, all that work. But it starts now. It starts for the guys who are committed to this program right now. A level of expectation. So, look, it's one thing to say it. It's another thing to be it. And what he said yesterday is we're done talking. We're about making strides happen right now, but we don't need to have our mouths open when we do that. The other thing, and I actually asked him, like, this is a whirlwind. Like, you ever, like, want to clean your house and there's, I don't know, a million things to do, right? You got to vacuum, you got to clean your dishes, you got to clean bathrooms, you got to, I don't know, whatever, cut the yard. And, like, it feels like you'll never get it all done. How do you prioritize, right? And, like, do you pick one topic at all and just finish that one? That's typically how I do it, at least when it comes to home chores. Coach Elko doesn't believe in prioritizing. He's kind of going all in on everything, and he's got to do it in quick order.
And I don't know that you prioritize. I think you just have to compartmentalize because there's so many things that have to get accomplished. So the first thing is connecting with these players, getting one-on-one meetings set up with them, getting an opportunity to sit down with them, learn their story, learn who they are as young men, figure out the ways that we can kind of enhance the experience that they're having here at Texas A&M. There's a recruiting class that is going to sign really quick here, and trying to get on the phone with those guys and the families and the decision makers with all of those kids and making sure that we lock them into what we're doing and can convince them of the vision that we have here at Texas A&M, hiring a staff, right, which is going to be a huge piece of this thing too, and trying to sort through that process and not rushing it, but making sure we efficiently and effectively get people in here that fit our vision and what we want to try to do and build. And I think that becomes the priority between now and the first signing day, which is coming right around the corner.
He's got the plan in check right there. And look, I've bought in. People want to say, your second choice, your third. He's the guy. And I think we all knew he was the guy. But because, like everybody, you want to see what's out there. You want to see, well, maybe Ryan Day's interested. Maybe Kellen DeBoer's interested. Dude, maybe, I don't know, Nick Saban might be interested. Like, that is human nature to see, to wonder if these guys are interested and then make the educated decision. But the right guy was here. And I remember hearing that, maybe it was Bronny, but years ago, like a couple years ago, saying, man, this guy, he could lead this program one day. And then he went out to Duke. So, and yes, David Williams, I do understand your reference on the YouTube page. 487 of you watching, 149 likes. Thank you so much, guys. Can we get that up to 250 in the next 10 minutes? Can we do that? Let's get a couple more text messages in, Luke, before we hit a break.
Well, actually, before I give you another text message, how about a stat about Mike Elko?
Give me a stat about Mike Elko.
I will. So we found his points per game allowed in every year that he's been a defensive coordinator or head coach, dating back all the way to when he was at Wake Forest in 2014. And on average, for every additional year that Mike Elko coaches a team, their points per game allowed decreases by 2.7 points each year.
Goodness gracious. Very good stat. I like the little smile at the end of how proud you were of yourself on that one. Would you like to read B in Austin's most recent text?
Yeah, of course. So B in Austin said something that's not really at all helpful to the show or
Well,
really
just
life in
I
general.
can't. My eyes are bothering me.
Yeah,
Just
they
read-
said, oh, I can't really read that either, but I think it says, how does a 20-year-old male not know how to change a tire? So first of all, I don't know how a 20-year-old male would not know how to change a tire because I'm 22, which probably makes that even worse. But, you know, kind of like what David was talking about earlier, where you put things off until they're kind of needing to come up. So until the day that my tire pops or I have to change a tire, I just won't learn about it. And when that day comes, I will just Google it and try and
on
get
the
through
side
it.
of the road as cars are zooming by you.
But maybe I should get into that championship mindset and learn today
See?
because it starts today.
I feel like I could coach a team. Like I may not know how to do anything, but I think that line I think that worked. Do you feel motivated to go work out?
Actually,
today?
yeah, I think I'm going to go search it up right now.
Okay, go do that. When we come back, we've got more stats on Mike Elko. That and more. It is TexAgs Radio. We are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers in the Rollo Insurance Studio. That's weird. Ethan Jones just told me the most depressed season. Can I tell the people?
Yeah, you can tell them.
Was when the Texans traded DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah,
the most depressed. Man, you've had a very charmed life, Ethan.
Yeah, I guess so. That was pretty low. DeAndre Hopkins. But hey, as Luke said, it started the rebuild. Now we have C.J. Stroud. We're chilling.
Trust me, they were kind of close at the time, but they were never going to get there with Bill. All right, let's move on. It is TexAgs Radio. We are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. Ethan Jones has always got stats for us, but we're not doing stats about the game. We're doing Elko stats.
Let's go. I'm hyped to do Elko stats. Let's start off. Let's talk about his stats in the second half and fourth quarter. So one of like the biggest struggles in the final 2 years of the Jimbo Fisher era was in the second half and specifically the fourth quarter. We always seem to like fail, especially like in big games like the Tennessee game, the Alabama game. We couldn't score and we couldn't stop them. Mike Elko, however, has been very successful in the second half and the fourth quarter in his 2 years at Duke. So in the second half at Duke, he's outscored his opponents 14.7 points to 10.5 points, and then in the fourth quarter, 9.3 points to 6.2 points. Also, where A&M failed the most was against top 25 teams in the second half, but Duke did very good. 13.4 points versus 13.8 points, so that's like Duke had 13.4 in the second half. Their opponents had 13.8. A&M, however, over the past 2 years in the second half, 9.8 points in the second half versus the top 25 teams, and then 12.9 for their opponents. So Duke and Mike Elko were very good in the second half. A&M wasn't. That's a big, big positive.
Let me see how I want to phrase this. There is a similar thing that has happened to Duke this year that happened to A&M this year. Backup quarterback, lost one-score games, very similar. The difference is the talent that Duke has compared to their opponents and A&M's talent compared to their opponents. Continue on, my friend.
Yeah, so here's something that talks about talent. Duke averaged, coming into the 2022 season, like that was Michael's first season, Duke averaged a 55th class ranking over the past 4 years, while Texas A&M averaged a 5th class ranking over the past 4 years. However, their numbers look very similar over 2022 and 2023. Yards gains for Duke, 384, only 360 for A&M. Points scored, 30.4 for Duke, only 28 for A&M. Yards allowed, 366 for Duke, 321 for A&M. Points allowed, 21 for Duke, and then 21.3 for A&M. So very similar numbers, but the talent gap is massive. Granted, the opponent gap, yes, A&M is playing better opponents.
A&M is playing better opponents, but you could say that this year, the ACC had a really nice year. They did.
They did. They had Florida State, they had Louisville, they had North Carolina, and Duke played all those teams and kept close to all those teams. They even played Notre Dame. So they did have a decent schedule.
ACC was up. You could argue the SEC, Mississippi State was bad. Auburn's up and coming, but still not good. Who else am I thinking? Ole Miss is good. LSU's good.
Arkansas was not good.
Arkansas was a train wreck. What else?
Also, when Elko was at A&M during the Jimbo Fisher era, they were much better than without Elko. So while Elko was at A&M, their record was 34-14. Without Elko, Jimbo only had an 11-11 record. Another big stat, Mike Elko at A&M, they were 7-9 in true road games. Since Elko left, A&M's been 0-8 in true road games. Hasn't won a single road game since Elko's left.
To be completely fair, the last 2 road games of Elko's run here, they did lose.
They did.
But one of those, what do you think? Was that the LSU game? Am I getting the year?
Yeah, it was Ole Miss and LSU were the last 2.
And the LSU one was robbed.
Yeah.
Absolutely robbed.
We don't need to talk about that. That's the second most. No, not really. But
you get depressed on sports. By the way, so similar to you, in 1992, the Houston Oilers, I'm dating myself, lost to the Buffalo Bills. They were up 35-3. I'm sure you've heard that story.
Yeah, this sounds like my dad right now. He's told me that story before.
Thanks for making me feel like I'm 100.
You used a Houston Orioles story. What am I supposed to do?
Who are the Houston Orioles?
Oh, that's the baseball team.
Yeah, Houston Oilers.
My bad. See, that's how young I am. I don't even know their name.
My goodness.
My dad's going to be disappointed in me now.
Oh, yep. That's Billy calling. What? Oh, get him off the air. You got it. I'm just kidding. Let's get one final stat.
Okay, so when Elko was defensive coordinator at A&M, his defense is ranked 29th in the nation in points per games allowed and 21st in yards per game allowed on average. With Durkin, A&M ranked 29th in the nation in points per game allowed and 31st in yards per game allowed on average. So pretty similar numbers, but obviously, like I mentioned before, better record, better on the road, and then similar defense. So I think Elko coming in, I think there's a lot of positive stats that show that he could be a really good coach.
Thank you, Ethan. Appreciate you.
Yes, sir.
Let's go back to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. Luke, you get one text message. You better make it a good one.
What if I want to give you another stat?
Okay, we've just done 1,000 stats. Please,
I
give
have
me more
one that's
junk
really
mail.
good.
Okay.
Okay. So if you give Elko better athletes, his defenses are actually better, even though he plays against better competition in the SEC. In his years of being a Power 5 coordinator and coach, he never had a defense that allowed more than 350 yards per game at A&M, and he never had a defense that allowed less than 350 yards per game at any other place he coached at.
Now, that was a quality stat, Luke. Thank you very
you.
much. All right, so here's the deal. Tomorrow on the program, are you familiar with Ross Bjork? He'll be in studio at 9 o'clock. I know we got a lot of other stuff. I can't remember. Maybe we'll record Leon today so we can have it tomorrow. I don't know. But it will be a very good show. That I can promise you. Thanks so much for watching and listening to TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. We'll see you mañana.